Well. It is time. It is time. It is time. I am going to play this in the background because we've got to have just a little something in the background just for now, and also for anyone who didn't see the intro. But first of all, just to let me know if you can hear me, because if you can't, then we have a problem, and that is not good at all. So if you guys can hear me, just let me know, and then we'll get to talking. Okay. Let's see. Okay, thank you. Seven Hearts says we can hear you. Great. It's good to know. Yes, we hear. Okay, brilliant. So I know it's been a while. I know it's been a minute. I mean, it's not been that long. It's only been like, I don't know, 6 months. Not that long. It's not been that long since I last did something with this channel. But basically, yeah. I'm here to discuss Subject X. I know you guys are probably thinking like, oh, that's a bit random. This guy just vanishes for 6 months, comes back, and it's like, hey, let's talk about Subject X. Why not? But look, so I wanted to actually do this stream, like not necessarily the stream, but I wanted to cover this topic months ago. But when I say months ago, I'm talking like basically right after Dark Road. So I did that video about Nomura's interview. And ever since then, I always wanted to cover this topic, okay? But I never did. And the reason I never did is just because, partially life, partially being busy, partially procrastinating. You guys know how it gets. You know how it gets. But we're going to discuss it today. Now, the reason why I titled this Thoughts on the Subject X debate rather than something like Thoughts on Subject X's identity or whatever is because the actual debate itself to me is interesting. Now, don't worry. I am going to tell you guys, what I think, like who I think Subject X is. It's Skuld. Spoiler alert. I think it's Skuld. That's not going to be a secret, but I'm going to actually break down in the stream why. I'm not just going to say that. I'm going to break it down, okay? And the reason why I'm doing this as a stream and why I didn't do it as a pre-recorded video, and I debated this for a while, and this was one of the reasons why it took so long for me to do it, because I kept going back and forth between should I do a stream or should I do a video. The reason I decided to do a stream is because, to be truthfully honest, I feel like I have too much things to say, and I don't really know if I felt like when I tried to sit down to make it a video, it just came out messy and I wasn't happy with it. So I decided I was just going to do it as a live stream, okay? I don't really do live streams very often, and I don't always feel very confident or comfortable doing them sometimes, but I do enjoy doing them. I actually like the live interaction, and because it's a debate, if any of you have got any thoughts you want to share on who you think Subject X is or anything you want to say, please do not be shy and let me know in the chat. So but yeah, and if you guys have got anything you want to say just up front, let me know what's going on with you guys. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Whoever we've got in the chat, I'm just going to shout you out. If you don't want to be shouted out, well, I am sorry, but you're getting shouted out and there's no escaping it. So first, I'm gonna shout out WTF Nymph, because you was here like way early. So it's like, yes, finally. I was like, oh, someone commented, but I know you've been waiting. You actually commented on my latest video like a couple weeks ago, and I know I was meant to do a stream weeks ago. By the way, for those of you who didn't know, Nymph will know this, but most of you won't. This stream was actually like in my live stream playlist weeks ago. So if you guys go on my channel and you go to my playlist that's called live streams, if you had looked at it like, let's say 2 weeks ago, you would have actually seen the stream there. You would have seen it there, so you would have known I was eventually coming back to do this stream. But yeah, so it's been sitting there just unlisted for weeks, and I'm finally getting around to doing it today. So shout out to Nymph anyway, because I know you specifically really wanted to hear my thoughts on this. Also, shout out to Seven Hearts. Yes, this is the internal Subject X debate. I don't know why, it keeps going on. No, I'm joking. I do know why it's going on, because it's a very interesting discussion. But we're gonna get into it today and what I think. Shout out to Super Shiba. I don't know how I feel about Shiba. If we're talking about the Shiba coin, I don't know how I feel about all that. But shout out to you anyway. That's a very nice icon you've got there. If you made that yourself, that's very nice. It's very nice. I do not know what this name is, and I've got a feeling I'm not necessarily supposed to know. But if I am, I apologize. I'm just gonna say Tugfee for now. Shout out to you. It's nice to see you here. I don't think I've seen you in my stream before, but hello. John Boy, hello. I didn't know I had kids, but if it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. Hi, son. I suppose I'm not sure I would name my son John Boy, but you know, it is what it is. So a zillion words. Hello there. I'm not sure if a zillion is a number or what's going on with that, but it's cool. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm low key roasting your name. I'm not trying to do that. I swear I'm not. Sorry, guys. I'm not the nicest YouTuber. You should probably unsubscribe. Roland 3D. Hello there. It's good. Almost 1 a.m. Yeah, I'm not sure where you are. I'm gonna guess you're in Europe, because for me it's 10:51, and I'm in the UK, so I'm guessing you're somewhere in Europe, probably a couple hours ahead of me. Shout out to I do not want to say Musubi if that's wrong. But it doesn't seem like that hard of a name. But shout out to you, Musubi, if that is how you pronounce it. I'm excited that you're back to making YouTube content, very needed as we start getting hyped for Missing Link in Kingdom Hearts 4. Yes, well, do not take this as me being back to making YouTube content. That's actually something I'm waiting to clarify. Honestly, guys, like these days, I'm actually busy. I don't really... Like, I really do want to try making more videos, but I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know how frequently I'll do it. This is why I'm doing a live stream. And I think it's cool because it lets me interact with you guys live and actually talk to you, which is something I would really like to do a lot more. So if this goes well, if I like this, maybe I'll do streams and stuff. But yeah. So someone else says LMAO. Oh my guy, Horror Pill. What's up, people? Woo woo. What's up, Horror Pill? It's good to see you here. Sorry, I always get hyped when Horror Pill's here because he's one of my day ones. You know, he's one of my OG subscribers. So I always get a bit excited when I see someone like that's still around. You know, sorry. You know, Seven Hearts, you as well. You've been around for quite a while. You're quite consistent, and Nymph, you've been around for quite a while. Apologies if any of you have been around for a while. I even think I think I've even seen you comment on my videos for a while. I'm pretty sure. I actually do think I recognize your name. But anyway, so let's get into this a little bit. So here's a question I want to ask you guys in the chat right now, those of you who are here. Okay, are you Team Ava or Team Skuld? Now, if you're anything else, feel free to leave it in the chat. But this stream is really just going to be focusing on Ava and Skuld, as you can guess from the thumbnail. Okay, Strelitzia is a non-factor. I'm sorry, if Strelitzia is what you're on, we're not covering that. I'm sorry, because to me, that's not even part of the discussion. I'm just going to be honest. I really don't. I can understand why she was originally, but at this point, nah. But I know that there's been like a lot of back and forth these days between Ava and Skuld specifically, which is why I want to focus on them. And I just want to see where you guys are at with it. Okay, so damn, I can already see the responses. No, this isn't good. No, no. Roland says Team Skuld. Nymph says Skuld. Timothy is a double agent. Okay, Timothy is definitely a double agent and is completely cheating the system and says, I choose to be on both teams. Basically, Timothy says, I'm not losing, which is going to be hilarious because then if it turns out that Skuld is neither of them, well, then you still kind of lost. Musubi says, Skuld, this isn't good, guys. This is not good. And the reason it's not good is because I wanted more people on Team Ava just so I can laugh by the time the stream's done. I'm Team Skuld, but I'm open to the possibility that Missing Link could have a subject candidate. See, okay. I think I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of people who are trying to be reasonable have this opinion. I do not have this opinion, but I think that this is a very reasonable opinion. Super says Skuld easy. Okay, says that's an easy W. It's an easy W. Been a while since I thought about it, but probably Skuld. Team Scala. Is that meant to be a character, or am I missing something? Or time traveling Skuld. I did allude to this back when the Nomura interview came out, I did allude to the possibility Skuld could time travel, right? And that's how she ends up as Subject X. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. There's issues I have with there's issues I have with a number of things to do with Skuld and basically this bloodline thing related to her, and I'm gonna point them out. Okay, it's gonna probably be towards the end of my little ramble. So, if you watch this, like you're not watching this live, like if you're watching this on the playback, I will create chapters like I usually do in my live stream, so you can just skip to that bit if you really want to hear it. But basically, I've noticed, whilst I've kind of observed the debate that's been going on since Dark Road's ending, it's been very interesting because there's the arguments for from Team Ava. They're making points that seem like they make sense, but I'm gonna be honest. Once you get into it, not really. Okay, and I'm gonna break it down. So you guys, if you haven't gotten it already, yes, I'm Team Skuld. Okay, I am Team Skuld, which is why I want more Team Ava people in here. Because this stream is mainly for you guys. You're the ones I want I want to convert you. I want to convert you today. Horror Pill says Team Ava all the way. Yes, Horror Pill. Yes. You will be converted. I will convert you. I will. Musubi says, I don't have a good reason for it, but I just think it'd be more interesting for Skuld to be Subject X and they do something else interesting with her. I completely agree with you. I completely agree. And I actually think, again, and maybe when I get into it, it'll make more sense, but I actually think that if you take Skuld away from being Subject X, her character loses a lot of significance, because the alternative that most people were suggesting is basically that, well, if she's not Subject X, then she stayed with Ephemer and she just gave birth to kids in Scala. And it's like, what? Is that her whole story then? Because what else did she do? So, you know, I agree with you. But again, I'm going to break it down a bit more. Don't worry. I'm going to pull up some scenes and stuff. It's not just going to be this background the whole time. I think it's Skuld, but it's not that simple. I think time travel or something interesting. So you think Skuld is Subject X, okay? Since Lee and Isa directly reference a black-haired girl, then it's probably someone we already know. Yep, that seems pretty fair to assume. What if Ava and Skuld are the same person by way of time travel shenanigans? I don't think so. I don't know. I will say this. It's a Kingdom Hearts type of move, let's not lie. But that's going to really, really depend on how old Ava is for that to work. And... Cass says, damn, I missed some. No, you haven't missed anything. I've literally just done a ramble and I just said... I literally just asked people what team they're on. So anyone new coming in, feel free to let me know if you're Team Ava or Team Skuld. In fact, you know what? Just to make this a lot easier for people, let me actually just put in the chat if you're Team Ava or Team Skuld. I mean, you don't have to. It's up to you, but it'd be, you know, it'll make my life a lot easier. So, yeah. So, yeah, I just basically want to know where people are at with it, because I think that as it stands right now, I think Skuld is still dominant, but there has been a lot of pushback with Ava, and I have to say it's interesting, because I remember when the Ava theory was first thrown around and people laughed at that thing. Like, they was like, that's ridiculous. What do you mean Ava's Subject X? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And then the Dark Road ending happened. Xehanort's like, oh, she has dark hair like my mum. You're completely right, John Boy. I should do a poll. You're completely right. If I can remember how to do that. Yes, here we go. Start a poll. You think is wait. Who is Subject X? Wait. No, I don't want to add an option. Damn, what have I done? Skuld. Actually, you know what? Let me not do that. Let me put Ava first. You know, just in case. Ava, Skuld. I'm gonna also just put, even though I am not addressing her, I'm gonna actually make this fair. I'm gonna make this actually very fair. I'm not just gonna put two options. I'm actually gonna make this fair. So I put Ava, Skuld, Strelitzia, and other. Okay, so whatever you want to pick, you can throw it out. All right, because I was gonna just put Ava and Skuld, but you know what? Let's not be closed-minded, right? Because at the end of the day, missing link is the factor, and there could be a new character. So let's be fair. And I don't want to box people into just one or the other. Masubi says I would not like if they were the same person, but anything is possible. I agree. I'm just gonna read a couple more comments and then I'm gonna actually get into like what my thoughts are on this. Interesting idea. What if Skuld or Ava is actually Sora's mother? What do you guys think about that? I'm one of those people where I don't know. Like Sora's mum, I made a video about her, you know, so I have interest in her, but I don't know about that. And I think a lot of people's apprehension about Sora's mum being any person connected to the Keyblade, like the Keyblade legacy, is a lot of people think it detracts from his character in terms of him not being special or a chosen one or this, that, and the third. But I personally, I've always been of the opinion that he's a bit of a chosen one, whether you like it or not. But I know a lot of people don't agree with that because of what Nomura said. While Skuld makes sense, the fact that Xehanort's mother looks like her implies something else, like Skuld as Subject X time traveling backwards. So I do think that's possible, Roland, but the thing is that there's too many issues with the Bloodline thing. I'm gonna get to that. I will, but there are too much issues with it. Seriously, like, and I really need the Team Ava people to justify them to me. A Descendant of Skuld could be possible, but it would just being Skuld would be better. I agree. I just think it makes more of an emotional impact. And also, I have a whole theory about Skuld replacing Ava as a foreteller, right? In the reunion of the unions. Like, she's basically the new Volpez union leader. And to me, that just makes it so much more interesting. If you have to fight Skuld with the amnesia and she doesn't know who she is and she thinks she's this new foreteller, and like, bro, like that would be, you know what I mean? Especially if she was wearing the mask and you, oh my, especially if they give her robes like Ava's and we think it's Ava and then it's Skuld. Oh my gosh, no, there's no way you're not telling me that would not be fire. I'm intrigued about seeing Sora's mum. I hope she shows up someday. Yeah, I really do want to see her. I just want to see her. Like, she doesn't necessarily have to be like this insane character, but I just want to see what she looks like, you know. But yeah, okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start off with what my thoughts are on some of these things. So I've got some notes, so I'm just going to begin with this, all right? So apologies if I ramble a little bit, but it is what it is. Now, what we're going to begin with, okay, I'm just going to play a clip in the background. This ain't necessarily going to have any actual context. I'm just playing it. But I just want to have this here. So I'm going to begin with this. This actually does have context. I'm going to begin with this scene where Lucio encounters Ava. Let me run it back a bit because this is like in the middle. So when Lucio and Ava meet like this, okay, a lot of people, and I do mean a lot of people, who argue that Ava is Subject X, a big part of their argument comes from this moment. Okay, so a lot of people's argument is, look, Ava is Subject X because when Lucio encounters her on the hill, they fight. We don't know what happened. She got knocked out. She's the True Dandelion, yada, yada, yada. And she becomes Subject X, right? Now, what I've noticed is that Ava being Subject X, most of the arguments for it basically rely upon her also being the True Dandelion. So she gets a 2-for-1. She's not just Subject X. She's also the True Dandelion, right? Like, I'm going, again, this is a lot of the arguments I've seen. So a lot of people argue that she's the True Dandelion, gets put in a pod, sent to the future, ends up in Radiant Garden, becomes Subject X. That's the argument. Not everyone's argument, but that is one of the most popular takes when it comes to saying Ava Subject X. But there's a big problem with this. There is a massive problem. In fact, there's a few problems, but there is one big issue. And I have seen some people point it out, but I am going to point it out right now. So the argument usually is that basically this is the last time we see Ava, okay? Now, I'm sure some of you who know the timeline know exactly what I'm about to get ready to say. And first, what I'm going to do, let me find the exact clip, okay? Because we need to show the actual receipts. We need to show the proof, so that people don't think I'm just, you know, making stuff up. So yeah, basically, this is the last time we see Ava, okay? And this happens after her clash with Luciu, of course, because her clash with Luciu is what leads to the Keyblade War happening. She's right here. Now, I am going to, like you guys don't understand, this is going to be a stream where I try and address literally every argument I've ever seen. I have seen the argument that this is not Ava. The argument I've seen is that this is not Ava fighting the player. This is darkness. It's imitating Ava. And I'm sorry, but I do not buy that. The reason I do not buy that is because, first of all, she has a Keyblade. I have never seen the Willful Darknesses summon a Keyblade. I've never seen that. And if the Willful Darknesses could just fight like this, why would they need to take people's forms then? Right? Why not just fight like this then? So I don't think so. Also, when you look at the dialogue, and I know it's translations, but when you look at the dialogue, it sounds like Ava to me. I say sounds, you can't hear her, but you know what I mean. It seems like stuff Ava would say. Now, this line specifically, this translation, I don't know how accurate this is because I saw a different translation of it. But where she says some things aren't for you to know, talking to the player, right? What she's effectively referring to here, as far as I can make out, and I'm pretty certain of this, is related to when she clashed with Luciu and when Luciu told her the truth about the Master's plans. This is her basically telling the player, hey, look, this isn't for you, okay? Like, there's some things you shouldn't know. The other translation I saw was something more like there's some things that it's better to not know or something like that. Now, what I'm basically getting from this is that she doesn't feel happy about what she found out, which we know she isn't. If you look at the scene between her and Luciu, she's not happy about what she found out, which is why she attacked him. She doesn't believe him. She thinks he's a traitor. And she tells the player to join the Dandelions, okay? She says, join the Dandelions and go far, far away from here. Now, if she was darkness, I don't know why she would do that. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible. Maybe you guys can give me an explanation. But to the people who claim that this is not Ava and that it's darkness, I need you to explain why she can fight with a Keyblade, why she can use the power of light, because in an actual boss fight, she fights like all the other masters. She doesn't do anything different. There's no darkness she's using. She fights like as you would expect her to. So I'd need to see some reasoning for that. I'd also want to know what would even be the significance of that, because she just walks away like all the other foretellers do in their boss fights. So again, it doesn't really, I don't really see it adding up, but that's just my personal take on it. Okay. Again, maybe there's something I'm missing, but yeah, so far I'm not convinced that that's darkness. I don't buy it. And I think we fought Ava, and I think she was just in the fight. Now, again, some people might say, well, why was she in the fight? The master told her not to be in the fight. Well, the master told her a lot of things. The master told her, hey, give this book to this kid, you know, follow my instructions. And while she mostly did, she also did things she wasn't supposed to, like, you know, give the book of prophecies to Brain, right? And she was not supposed to do that. So she was trying to subvert fate herself. She was trying to sidestep the master's plans herself because she found out what they were and she didn't agree with them. But anyway, that's just to address the whole argument that Ava was with Luciu and got knocked out and became the true Dandelion. So this is the big issue with that. She is here, right here, okay, in the graveyard. So if she is the true Dandelion, you just have to explain why she's in the graveyard fighting and then how she ends up as the true Dandelion. So I'm not saying it's impossible. It's just you can't use, oh, the last time we saw her was on the hill, because that is just factually incorrect. So you have to use this scene. You can't use the hill scene. Okay, that's all I want to say against that. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's just use this scene as the, you know, as the last point rather than the hill scene is basically what my point would be to do with that. Jordan says, Ava after fight with Luciu gets amnesia like Subject X maybe. I don't think so, because again, like, this is after the fight with Luciu, and she blatantly tells the player to join the Dandelions. If she had amnesia, I don't think she'd do that. I don't think she'd even be in the war. Like, if she had amnesia, she'd probably be like, where am I? You know? But again, I don't know. That's another thing as well, whether Ava would have amnesia wherever she is or not. I don't think so. I think she knows who she is. I think she remembers everything. But and I honestly think Ava at this point, to me, I think she's actually a bigger mystery than Skuld, because I feel like with Skuld, I feel like it's pretty solidified what's kind of going on with her. But Ava really is just, you don't really know. Obviously, there's the grandmother connection, and I made a whole video about that as well. But I've seen that maybe more people are kind of siding with that theory as time goes on. But outside of the grandmother thing, she could be really anywhere. She could be in Quadratum. You know what I'm saying? And again, look, maybe something will happen in Missing Link. Maybe it will make sense as to why she is Subject X if it turns out she is. But again, I'm just addressing, this is just the first argument I'm addressing. The argument that she gets knocked out by Luciu, is put in the pod as the True Dandelion, and becomes Subject X. All I'm saying is that for that to work, she has to get knocked out by him after this scene, right? Which I'm not saying is impossible, but I just think that, again, that's not what people's argument is. So I'm addressing the actual arguments that are being made, because that's the whole point. It's thoughts on the Subject X debate, right? So I don't want to make up arguments for people. And so, yeah, that's that first part kind of handled. Now, a lot of the foretellers as well, okay, in the actual reunion scene, they seemed confused as to where Ava was, right? And the reason why that's significant is because, let's say that in this scene, or after this, she was killed in a war, or she got defeated, and that's why she's unconscious and in the robe as the True Dandelion. Why did none of the foretellers see that? They were all there. So, you know, again, it's not impossible, but these are the types of things I think of when I see that argument. Like, why did none of the foretellers see her get defeated then, right? And they're all fine. So, again, that's just the type of thing I'm thinking of. But okay. Now, there's another thing as well, just to address the True Dandelion argument, right? So there's the whole point that people make that, you know, okay, well, I think that that Ava's the True Dandelion. I want to bring this scene to your attention, because this is actually a scene a lot of people need to know about, because I think a lot of people aren't aware of this. Now, this is Ava talking to Brain, right? This is the moment where she gives him like the Book of Prophecies, and she's talking to him about fate and changing fate and all of that kind of stuff, right? But I want you guys to pay attention to something very important at the start. About 4 years ago. Okay? About 4 years ago. Now, this is about 4 years ago before Union Cross. Okay? So what that means is that this is showing 4 years before Union Cross. That sounds like I'm repeating myself. But the point is that Union Cross and Key, the gap between them is 4 years. So the gap between what we see with the Keyblade War and all of that stuff, and when we get Union Cross with the Union leaders and Brain and all that, it's 4 years. This also means that the True Dandelion scene, because the True Dandelion scene happens in Union Cross, not in Key. It happens in Union Cross. This means it took Luciu 4 years to put the True Dandelion in one of the arcs. Now, if the True Dandelion is Ava, that means he knocked her out after the war or something, which again is that's dodgy, but let's just say he did. He knocked her out after the war, put her in the robe, and then waited for 4 years, and then he put her in the pod as the True Dandelion. So again, I'm gonna need some explanation for that, because why would he take 4 years to do that? If he knew he wanted to put her in the pod, why did it take him 4 years? Now, I think, again, a lot of people haven't thought of that, because I don't think a lot of people realize that this time skip even happened. And I don't think they realized that this was a thing. So I'm pointing it out now because, again, this has been one of my main kind of things I've used against the argument that Ava's the True Dandelion. If Ava's the True Dandelion, it took 4 years for her to become the True Dandelion. Again, it's not impossible. It is not impossible. This is Kingdom Hearts. It's not impossible. But why? Why did it take 4 years? That's all I'm doing. Like, one of my objectives with this entire stream is to basically put out arguments or counters that I haven't seen other people put out. Because whilst I am Team Skuld, I have to admit, sometimes Team Skuld isn't always countering Team Ava that greatly. Okay? There's a lot of things Team Ava says where it seems like they got Team Skuld. And I'm like, no, you didn't get us. But, you know, it looks like they did. because both sides have forgotten these kind of little details. So I'm pointing this out because to me, this pretty much kind of, Team Arthur's gonna have to explain that one, right? Again, this is if you're saying Arthur's the true Dandelion. I just want to know why it took 4 years for her to become the true Dandelion. Oh, Kid Q, shout out to you, salute to you. Timothy says the true Dandelion would be put in the pod way after the war was ended and everyone lost their memories and started redoing what happened up to the war. Yes. So I don't know if you posted this before or after I pointed out the time skip thing, but yeah, the true Dandelion was put in the pod 4 years after Keep. Okay, 4 years. That's a long time, guys. Like, if you think about how much time there is between each Kingdom Hearts game, that's 4 years is a long time. Okay. Like think about, I think it's like between even just Kingdom Hearts 3 and Remind, it's like a 1 year time skip or something, right? Or there's a 1 year gap. So think about 4 years. What took Luciu so long? The Cherry Tree already said the true Dandelion looked like Strelitzia. Did? No. So, okay, let me clarify this. So, the Cherry Tree didn't say that the true Dandelion looked like Strelitzia. Cherry Tree was talking about the scene where basically where someone in a black coat was taking someone in a white robe that looks like Strelitzia somewhere. But that was in the day-to-day breakdown. That wasn't the true Dandelion. The Cherry Tree didn't see, none of the Cherry Tree saw the true Dandelion thing. But yeah. Domrock says, it is my opinion Luciu in the robe is the original replica. Brain is his original form. Therefore, he reassumed his original body after Union Cross, and that Brain 4 years ago is Luciu. Interesting. Okay. So, Brain in the robe is the original replica. Brain is his... Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that one because, to be honest, my brain's not processing it correctly. I think I have seen a lot of theories though, with people who are surrounding like about Brain being someone or Luciu or some kind of thing to do with that, or Luciu being his original look being Brain or looking like Brain or something like that. I see you posted another comment, so I'll get to that in a moment. I've never realized the 4 years thing. Does Ava give her book to Brain and she just doesn't have one for 4 years? So, here's the thing. Yeah. So basically, she gives him the book of prophecies. Like, she was supposed to do this. This was the task that was given to her by the master, right? She was meant to give the book of prophecies. Like, she says it right here. He put a circle around the one I was to entrust the book of prophecies to. So this is what she was supposed to do anyway. But it's just that she wasn't supposed to give the book to Brain. She was supposed to give it to someone else. And the someone else was Ephemer. But she gave it to Brain, right? And she gave it to Brain because she was trying to basically ruin the master's plans. But yes, it was 4 years afterwards, which is very, very interesting. And again, something a lot of people miss. Seven Heart says very true. Therefore, Luciu may be the original Dandelion, the original one manipulated by the master, the true arbiter for the future of the Keyblade Builders. I see. Kind of. I'll get back to that. But I'm going to try to, because I do have a lot to say. So what I'm going to do, I'm not used to streaming, guys. So I'm one of those people where it's like I'm reading the comments when I probably should just get on with it. But what I'm going to read Horrible's comment and then I'm going to go with it. MMM needed Ava though. Or Masters needed Ava though. Axel be staring at Kyrie too much. So I think this might look like Kyrie. Okay, fine. Well, do you think Subject X is Kyrie? I don't think that's what you're saying. You're saying it looks like Kyrie, but I know some people think Subject X is Kyrie, which again, that's I'm not sure about that. But yeah, anyway, I did really want to point the 4 years thing out because I want that to be something now when people make theories, they can kind of use that as a reference point because I think that gets skipped over and forgotten a lot. And because it gets skipped over and forgotten a lot of the theories that are being made are not accounting for that time skip at all. This is also another thing I'm wanting to point out. Subject X is 15 years old, right? According to the secret reports. So, how old do you think Ava is in this cutscene? Because it would depend on when you think Subject X time traveled. If you think Subject X time traveled during the time of Union Cross, then it being Ava seems really iffy. Again, this goes back to the idea that she's the true Dandelion and then subject X. If she's the true Dandelion and then subject X, you know, that means that if you go back 4 years, she's 11 years old in this cutscene. I don't think so. That would also mean, let's say Brain's like 15, right? Let's say Brain's 15 in Union Cross. If Brain's let's say Ava's 15 in this cutscene, then Brain is even younger than her. So he's 4 years younger than she is. I'm sorry, but Brain does not look like he's like that young. He'd be a literal child. So again, this kind of goes against the idea of it being Ava because the age thing isn't matching up with the timeline that we know. But again, it's not impossible. If she was, let's say something happened to her for 4 years, maybe she was preserved and she didn't age. It's not impossible. It is not impossible, especially in Kingdom Hearts. It is not impossible. She could have been in a stasis. Who knows? I don't know. But it's so tempting to read the comments. But if I do that, I am not going to get anywhere. And I'm trying to be conscious of people who are watching this on the playback and not live. So, okay, let me try and get to my next point, right? Now, we've got someone like, you know, I'm going to skip this. I was going to bring up Shalizia, but because my view is that Shalizia is the true Dandelion. I think Shalizia is, and I think that's why she's in Quadratum. Bear in mind, this was way before we saw her in Quadratum, before we saw her in Unreality. I just thought she was the true Dandelion. And it seems to me, as time goes on, we're maybe leaning more in that direction. But you never know. You never know. But the thing is that Shalizia, there's at least an explanation as to why she would maybe be in that form. Also, Shalizia was meant to be a Dandelion, and she never got a chance to be a Dandelion. And as far as I'm concerned, thematically, it would make sense for her to be considered the true Dandelion, okay? Because she was meant to be one, and she never really got to be one, which is something else that I think is worth mentioning. But yeah, so I'm going to address just some of the actual canon facts that we know about Subject X, okay? And as I do that, let's find something to just put. Let's put this scene in the background again. So the actual canon facts of what we know, okay, about Subject X is that she's a 15-year-old girl with dark hair, right? She has memories of a bygone era, like one from fairy tales, right? That's the age of fairy tales. She left her world with 4 friends, and she remembers 4 friends and the key, okay? So when we consider those things, we have to think about who that lines up with. Now, we all know for the longest time, everyone said Skuld, 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 Skuld. But the other thing has come into question because basically, it really is just because of Xehanort's mum, which I am going to get to, but I'm saving the best part till the end. But that is really the main reason why the debate's happening. Because prior to Xehanort's mum being shown and Xehanort mentioning that his mum looks like Skuld, most people were on the Skuld train, right? It's basically because of Xehanort's mum why it's become more of a debate. And I think it's something that we really need to kind of think about because, again, the 15 years old thing, we don't know Ava's age, so it's hard to say. But I'm going to go through each of these things, all right? I'm going to go through each of these things. So first, I'm going to start with 15 years old, right? Open my stream back to them. So I'm going to start with Subject X being 15 years old and how likely that is to fit Ava or Skuld. So if Ava time traveled at the end of Key, right? So not the end of Union Cross. I know this is going to be a little confusing, but you guys can watch it back and hopefully it'll make sense. But if Ava time traveled during this time here, so in Key, then if she's 15 here and time travels, then it's possible she's Subject X and has the same age. But if she time travels in Union Cross or during that time frame, there's no way that makes sense, right? Because it's 4 years after this. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But also, here's the question I have, okay? Because if you argue that Ava time traveled in Key, then my question is, how did she time travel? Because she didn't use an arc. And I know for a fact she didn't use an arc. because the arcs were all accounted for. We know exactly how many arcs there were meant to be, and they were all used. The first arc that was used was by Maleficent. The second arc was used for the True Dandelion. One of the arcs was destroyed. So we know basically where all of these arcs, like how all the arcs were used. Or sorry, in the real world, I don't think the arc was destroyed. That was in the data mode. But you guys get what I'm saying. The point is that all the arcs were accounted for. So again, unless she's the True Dandelion, she couldn't have used an arc. So you can't use that argument. But I will say this in all fairness, all of the foretellers, Nomura said himself that they time traveled to the present day. So all of them time traveled anyway, which means that Ava most likely does have a method of time traveling to the future, right? Which is really interesting because I wonder if, I would assume Luciu would have the same method, but I guess he couldn't use it because he had to live throughout all the eras so that the master could see everything, right? So he couldn't just take the shortcut, basically. But yeah, this might be confusing, but I'm telling you guys, this is I'm trying to break this one down like a fraction because I want to bring up all the things that like I've seen people say and all the counters that I've not seen people say as much. So hopefully it's not too confusing. And let's see. So yeah, in terms of the age thing, I just think it fits Skuld more for the reasons I brought up. But again, maybe there's a way it can make sense. It's just, it's tough to see how. Basically, the way I see it is for her to be 15 years old and to have time traveled, she would have basically had to have, like, she would basically have had to have time traveled at the end of Key and then ended up in Radiant Garden. It's really confusing, I know, but that's Kingdom Hearts for you. Yeah. Now the dark hair thing, right? The dark hair is the other detail we have. So we have 15 years old, and then we have that dark hair. Now the dark hair detail is not from the secret reports, right? It's from one of the character files. So I know some people are a little iffy on whether or not the dark hair thing is canon. But let's just assume it is canon, because for the most part, most people are assuming it's canon. And this one goes either way, because we don't know what Ava's hair color looks like. So you can't say that she doesn't have dark hair. So as far as I'm concerned, Ava or Skuld, either one of them could have dark hair. Therefore, the whole argument about Subject X has dark hair, so it can't be Ava. No, sorry, because we don't know what Ava's hair color is. So you can't say that. Though I have noticed that a popular take these days is that Ava would have blonde hair, and that it's got some relation to why Naminé has blonde hair and stuff like that. So that's a very popular take I'm starting to see nowadays, which I think is very interesting. This is such a sad scene. So sad. So sad. Isn't it just tragic that like you know it's so tragic. I'm gonna actually get to this when I bring up the point about the 4 friends in the key. I don't know why I've got this scene playing here. We need to get away from this. Let's go over here. Let's just put this guy. Yeah. Let's go back a little bit. Nah, we don't need credits. Yeah, let's go here. I'm going to address this in a moment. I'm just putting it in the background for now. But yeah, so the dark hair thing could be Ava or Skuld, so we can't really put that in one camp or the other. Now, the whole idea of memories of a bygone era, that's basically alluding to the fact that Subject X is someone from the Age of Fairy Tales. Skuld is from the Age of Fairy Tales. Ava is from the Age of Fairy Tales. So both of them qualify for that particular piece of evidence, right? When it comes down to memories of a bygone era like one of Fairy Tales, you can't say it's not Ava because she's from the Age of Fairy Tales, and Skuld is also from that time. So they both fit. So there's not really, no one wins on that point. Now here's the point where it starts getting really debatable. 4 friends and a key, right? 4 friends and a key. I have seen a lot of debate around that particular piece of evidence to do Subject X, because basically the argument for Ava is that Ava has 4 friends, which is the foretellers, whereas Skuld has 5 friends when you include the player. Now, here's one thing I'll say, and maybe you guys might think this is a reach, but let's look at it like this. from Skuld's perspective, if she has amnesia, right? If her last memories is for friends, if her last memory of player is player attacking her, is it not plausible to think that from her perspective, as someone who has amnesia, she would remember that person not as being her friend? Is that not possible? Because to me, that is literally her last memory of player, is player attacking her and Ephemer. That's the last thing they saw from player. So I think it's very plausible that from Subject X's perspective, again, this is with her with amnesia, not with all her memories, but with amnesia. And this is the craziest thing, even with her memories, their last memory of player was player fall into darkness and attacking them. Also, and this is why this scene is actually, funny enough, does fit. Look at what Xehanort says when he's referring to them. They really like each other. And look at what his next line is. Is that what having friends is like? Now tell me, do the foretellers seem like friends? This scene literally confirms that the union leaders are friends. But do the foretellers seem like they're friends? Look, Tugby said it here in the chat. The foretellers don't seem like they're very good friends to me. No, not at all. In fact, all we ever saw of them was them conspiring against each other for the most part. There was so much tension between them. There was no friendship. The closest thing we saw to friendship with the foretellers was between Gula and Ava. That's one person from Ava's perspective. That's one person she could maybe call a friend. Maybe she was kind of friends with Envy, but even with Envy, she just had mad tension. There was no, like, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you guys know what it's like to have friends. If your friendships look like the foretellers' friendships, I think you need to get some new friends. But if your friendships look like the union leaders, you're good money. You're good money. Because let's just be honest, the union leaders actually had chemistry. They got along. They had heartfelt moments together. They had jokes with each other. Like, they actually had bonds and friendships. The foretellers didn't. I mean, they just didn't. Like, I'd have to see, if you guys can show me some scenes I've not seen somehow of them being friends, but honestly, guys, like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think so. And the thing is, Xehanort explicitly said that the union leaders are friends right here. He literally said it. He's like, is that what having friends is like? Like, bro, he said it right here. Okay, so I mean, you know, like, the four friends in the key line was debated for a while, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it in Alva's, like, that one I'm gonna have to give to Skuld. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to give it to Skuld. Okay. And as I mentioned, yes, if you throw in player, it's 5 friends. But again, from her amnesiac perspective, I should say, I could see it as she does not look at player as one of her friends, because her last memory of player is being attacked. Again, I could be reaching with that one. I'm willing to accept that. You could say that's a bit of a reach. But honestly, if you had amnesia and the last memory you had of that person was them hitting you or attacking you, you know what I mean? And seeing Ephemer have to literally blast the player, and I think you'd probably think, oh, that's probably not a good person. Which is actually makes it more tragic. That makes it worse. That makes it more sad. It actually makes it worse. Like, it makes the player's sacrifice even more painful, because she wouldn't even remember player as her friend. That's even more messed up. And come on, man, we know that's what Kingdom Hearts is all about. So anyway, that's my take on that. You guys, I will get to your arguments. Feel free to completely disagree with me. I actually want you guys to disagree. Like, if you do, please share it. I not because I think like you're all wrong, but because I want it to actually be a discussion, which is one of the reasons I'm doing it live. So please, I do not care what your arguments are. Just throw them out. This is Kingdom Hearts, man. Let's have some fun with it. And okay, so the next thing as well is that we know Subject X has got profound amnesia. Now, some of you might think, what's that got to do with anything, right? Well, here's the thing about the profound amnesia thing. Why would Ava have amnesia? If Subject X is Ava, why would she have amnesia? Again, I'm not saying she couldn't, but why would she have amnesia? What happened to Ava to give her amnesia? Again, I'm going to jump back to her last canon appearance, guys. This is the last canon appearance of Ava, okay? This is the last canon appearance. Like, let's run it back. Let's run it back so we can see it in full. This is the last canon appearance. Not on the hill with Lucio, as people keep saying. This is her last canon appearance. So, if she has amnesia, what based on this scene would make you think that? Now, if we go to Skuld, we know why she would have amnesia, because she went in the Ark. And we know because the Arks are damaged that when you travel through them, it's likely that you are going to end up with amnesia, right? We know this because we know that the other people who traveled the same way, Lorium, Elrena, right? They don't remember things either. Okay, so we know that that's the outcome. We know that that's most likely what's going to happen. So it makes sense on Skuld's side why she doesn't remember if she traveled with the Ark. But it doesn't make sense with Ava. And I've already addressed it earlier, but if you're going to say, well, maybe Ava used the Ark, that doesn't make sense because we know where all the Arks were. And we didn't see Ava use one. Again, unless you're arguing she's the true Dandelion, but I already pointed out the issues with that earlier as well. So, it's, again, I'm going to have to give it to Skuld. The profound amnesia fits Skuld. It does not fit Ava at all, based on what we've seen. This is the last time we see Ava. She doesn't have amnesia here. She doesn't. She doesn't. I mean, maybe you could make an argument that she does, but it doesn't seem like she does to me. So I don't think so. But anyway, I'm going to say at this point, okay, based on my notes, I feel like based on everything I've said, like if you guys watch this back, I know maybe it's a bit of a mess live. When you guys watch this back in full, maybe you can take some notes and write a comment. I'd appreciate it. But to me, I think at this point, Ava's eliminated. Honestly, I'm not even finished, by the way. But to me, this already, I think she's done. I think she's done. I think to me, Team Ava, like that's it. It's a wrap. Based on everything I said already, I think it's a wrap for her. I don't think she's Subject X. But we're not done. We are not done because even if it isn't Ava, that does not necessarily mean it's Skuld. That does not mean it is Skuld. But to me, based on everything I have laid out, if again, I know some of you are probably coming in late. Rewatch this. I'll try and put some chapters to make it easier to watch. But I'm just telling you, based on what I've said, I think she's finished. Now, if she isn't, that's fine. I just want the arguments to be basically. Let me put it like this: if you're Team Ava, just try to go through my arguments and counter each of them, okay? Because most of the arguments for her were based on things that weren't true to the timeline. Like the last time we saw her was with Luciu, when it isn't. This is the last time we saw her, right? So just based on things like that, I'm not saying it can't be Ava. Just I'd rather that the theories were formulated around these types of things because then it's like, okay, fair enough. And also, again, like the 4-year time skip thing, right? Like Kid Q, I can see you saying, yeah, I need to reevaluate the 4-year thing. Yeah, and that's fair because I think a lot of people just didn't remember that or they didn't know about it. But for any of you who missed it, like this scene says about 4 years ago, this is 4 years before Union Cross when Ava is talking to Brain. Okay, so that means Union Cross and Key have a 4-year gap. So you have to bear that in mind whenever you're saying she's the true Dandelion or that she's Subject X or any of these things. There is a 4-year gap there, which means if Luciu knocked her out in Key, he waited 4 years to put her in the pod as the true Dandelion. Why would he take that long? Again, I'm not saying it's impossible, but why would he do that? So these are the types of things to think about now if you're making those arguments. So in a lot of ways, I'm just giving you guys more context. I'm just trying to give you guys more context for your arguments in a lot of ways. Whilst also explaining why I think it's still Skuld. But I'm gonna, don't worry, I know I keep saying it, but I will get to the biggest elephant in the room. Now, again, when I just look at the reports, I just think it lines up with Skuld more so than Ava, based on everything I said. There's also the fact that, like I said, I think with Skuld being referred to as being just like Ava, which I made a whole theory about, again, to me, and I'm fully willing to admit some bias here, because I do like that idea, I'm always going to be a bit biased and lead towards the idea that Skuld is Subject X, simply because I want to see, one of the reasons because I want to see that happen. I want to see her replace Ava and be a boss fight later on. Like I need to see that. I need to see Ava, Skuld replace Ava, be the new foreteller. We have to beat her up, you know, and she's not got her memories and she doesn't remember who she is. And I can just see it will be so powerful. I know they can make that just really hit. But let me just see exactly what my notes here say. So, yeah. So, yeah, I think that if Skuld is subject X, she's going to replace Ava. I think that would make sense as to why Ava basically, as to why Luciu took subject X, because people compare Skuld to Ava. It's happened twice. And so if they see Ava in Skuld, and if Luciu sees Ava in Skuld, then it makes sense that he would probably feel more of some kind of feeling towards it, especially since we already know he felt something for the Dandelions anyway. We know that because that was why he went off on the Master about we've sacrificed too much, and he kept worrying about the Dandelions, and the Master said he can keep an eye on them or whatever, but not get involved. So we know that Luciu cared about the Dandelions, and Skuld was one of them, right? So I think that's enough of a reason for why he would look out for Skuld, because I've seen people say, well, why would he take subject X if subject X was Skuld? He doesn't care about Skuld. I think he probably does. I think he probably does. Now, whether or not he cares about her in an altruistic way, I'm not sure about that. I think though he definitely can see how he can use her to his own ends, right? And I'm sure he will manipulate her if Skuld is subject X. So let me see if I've got any final notes I want to bring up. Right. Yeah, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. Let's jump back to Xehanort talking about his mum. Yeah, she's my mum. So, something I wanted to point out is that we know that apprentice Xehanort, right? He was experimenting on Subject X. Now, Subject X is Skuld, and Skuld looks like Xehanort's mum. Don't you think that could potentially be a big reason as to why he was so fascinated with her? Because maybe on some level, subconsciously, he's thinking, this looks like my mother. And as you can see from this cutscene right here, quite clearly, Xehanort very much says he wants to meet his mum again. So if apprentice Xehanort has that memory and sees Subject X, which is Skuld, let's say it is Skuld, and it looks like his mum, that could explain one of the reasons why he was so fascinated with her and why he wanted, even as Ansem Seeker of Darkness, he wanted to find Subject X. If it's Ava, I don't see that. Like, in my opinion, that's a missed opportunity in and of itself, because it makes it hit a lot more on more levels with it being Skuld, just for that simple reason, because then it ties into his mum and them looking similar and all that kind of stuff. And so, of course, I think it's now time to address the biggest hole in the entire idea of Skuld being Subject X, which is, of course, Xehanort's mom. Now, let me see if I can find the exact scene, because I want to get this up for you guys. So let's here we go. Let's just get her there on the screen. Boom. There she is. The woman that ruined everything. It's all her fault. We was all good with our Skuld Subject experience until this woman appeared. Damn her forever. But here's the thing, right? So I'm also, I'm actually also going to try and find the Dark Road interview that Nomura did, because it's very important. There's something I want to point out about what he said that's very, very important. Okay, so basically, ever since we saw this woman, and ever since Nomura came out in Dark Road and said, hey, they are related. This woman is related to Skuld in some way, which I am going to harp on about. Ever since he said that, this was where it became a big, Skuld isn't Subject X. She's got a bloodline. She's with Ephemer. She founded Scala. She's not Subject X, right? So I am going to address it. I am going to, because I know that is the biggest hole. And I have to say, like, Team Skuld, you've been making us look real bad. I have to call you guys out. Team Skuld, you've been making us look real bad out here, because every time I've seen Team Ava throw that argument at us, you guys are not countering it the way you should be, okay? But I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you guys out today. I'm going to help you out, right? But there's some glaring issues with the bloodline thing. And I actually think this is a good discussion to have because Missing Link's the next game, right? And I would like to think since we're in May now, hopefully we're going to start hearing a bit more about Missing Link very soon. And basically, I think maybe this discussion could lead to us. Like, I'd really like to hear you guys' thoughts basically on this because I think it could allude to what's going on in Missing Link Scala because I think it might be a little sus. I think there might be some stuff going on there that's a little sus, right? I don't think that place is what we think it is in a lot of ways, okay? And I don't think that these people are what we think they are either, right? And I really don't want to seem like I'm reaching here, but it will make sense, I'm sure. So first, I'm just looking for the exact point where Nomura says what he says. I'm just trying to find the question. So I don't know why I'm struggling to see it right now. Getting to the point where I'm going to actually have to. There it is. Right. So it's question 10. Okay. So I'm just going to pull this up real quick because it is important. Okay. So boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Let me make sure you guys can see that. Right. So here it is. Question 10. Xehanort appears with a figure who we assume to be his mother. Is that Skuld? That is incorrect. So just for anyone who would say that the woman is actually Skuld, Nomura outright sniped that. It's not Skuld. I pointed out before this interview dropped that they have different eye colors. So I already didn't think it was Skuld, okay? But he did say, even though he said it isn't Skuld, okay, he did say that they are related in some way, right? So let's just read this in full. That is incorrect. However, she is related to Skuld in some way. The next title, Missing Link, will have bloodlines as one of the story's main points. Now, this pretty much is why we're having this whole debate. Let's just be honest. Because before this interview dropped, there wasn't really a debate. There wasn't really any. Most of the people who were Team Ava, let's be honest, we were laughing at them. You guys are not going to admit it, but let's be honest, we were laughing at them. We were. But this interview dropped, and then we were the ones getting laughed at. You know, there was a lot of traitors. A lot of people turned coat, right? They jumped ship. A lot of people, jump ship. But let's just be honest about it, right? It's true. So, personally, I'm going to break down what I think Nomura is saying here. Because I don't think this is as the way a lot of people have read this, I don't think is accurate. Okay. And I'm going to break down why. So he says that is incorrect. So again, Xehanort's mum is not Skuld. That's incorrect. However, she is related to Skuld in some way. Now, let's really think about this. Okay. If you're related to somebody, why would you say in some way? Why would you say that? If someone is your actual relative, your blood relative, I mean, think about it. If you have a mum, well, you do have a mum, but your mum, right? Would you, if someone said to you, are you related to that woman? Are you going to say yes in some way? No. You're just going to say yes, right? The in some way part is implying there's a catch. It's implying there's something more to it than that. It's not as simple as just, yes, they're related, point blank, period. There's something else going on there. Because if there wasn't, why would he say it in some way? Now, bear in mind, this is an interview, it was translated, but I am getting this straight from KH13, okay? And I trust KH13. I trust them. I trust the translators, right? But if anyone else can translate it or thinks they've got a more accurate translation, feel free to let me know. But based on the translation I'm reading, it says in some way here. And I don't see why they would randomly throw that in. So that to me means they are related, but it's not what you mean. Now, I want to make this specific to Kingdom Hearts. Okay, so I'm going to use an example specifically in Kingdom Hearts that you guys will understand. You guys remember when Roxas was a character nobody knew? I don't know how many of you guys remember that time. I was really little, so I do not remember it. But back in the day, people used to call Roxas BHK, like or BK, right? Blonde-haired kid or blonde kid, because they didn't know who he was. Now, imagine if Nomura did an interview back then and someone said to him, who is this mysterious figure that we see with blonde hair in the secret ending of Kingdom Hearts? Is he Sora? And then Nomura says, he is not Sora, but he is related to Sora in some way. What would most people assume? The first thing you're going to assume is that's Sora's brother or Sora's dad or Sora's son, right? You're going to think it's an actual relative. You would never think it's a nobody because you had no context for that. There's no way you could have guessed that. But technically, in Kingdom Hearts terms, Sora and Roxas are related. Kairi and Naminé are related, but they're not siblings. They're not mother and son. They're not daughter and father. They're not related by blood, but they are related in Kingdom Hearts terms, right? So the reason I'm pointing this out is because in Kingdom Hearts, someone can be related to someone and it doesn't have to be like that. Now, the part which you're going to obviously jump to, which you would say, well, here's the thing, next gen, because he blatantly says the next title, Missing Link, will have Bloodlines as one of the story's main points. Now, here's the thing that I really am curious about. Why is Bloodlines in quotations? Why is Bloodlines in quotations? Why doesn't it just straight up say Bloodlines? Why is it Bloodlines with quotations? Is it, and I genuinely don't actually know, is it because when they translated it, they put it in quotations, or is that how it was originally presented by Nomura? I have no idea. But that is sus as hell. And based on what I just said, it feeds into it. Because I personally, my take, if you haven't figured it out yet, is I do not actually think they're blood relatives. And don't worry, guys, it isn't over yet. I have still got a ton of reasons for why it doesn't make sense. But I just want to address the exact thing Nomura said first, okay? So his exact words based on the translation is she's related in some way, and it will have bloodlines as one of the story's main points. But again, bloodlines is in quotations, and he says they're related in some way. That's very vague. Why isn't it just they're related? And why is bloodlines in quotations? It's weird, right? Again, I'm not saying that they're not actually related by blood, guys, but just, you don't think it's weird? And here's another thing that we have to consider. You know what? I'm going to get to that in a minute. I'll get to that in a minute because there's too much other stuff to say. There's too much other stuff to say, okay? But let's go to let's jump to this real quick, okay? Let's just see Ephemer and Skuld. So here's what the argument is, right? Here's one of the main arguments that you've got out here. So a big argument that a lot of people make is that Ephemer and Skuld, look at them. Aw. Let's get in, Skuld. Aw, you know, let's be real. They basically, you can ship them at this point. I mean, it makes sense, right? Let's be honest. It's being put like they're together and that type of way, they like each other and they have an affinity for each other. That's fine. So basically, the big argument is that Skuld and Ephemer in this moment, right? They both stay behind and they found Scala together. Okay? So the idea is that here, Skuld does not leave. She stays behind with Ephemer. They become Adam and Eve effectively and repopulate the world. But oh boy, some of you are going to hate me after this. Team Ava, any of you that are like, Skuld has descendants, you guys are going to hate me. So, oh my gosh. So I've got some counters for this, okay? So my position is I do not think that Skuld and Xehanort's mom are related by blood at all. I don't. I think there's some Kingdom Hearts shenanigans going on. I don't know if it's data. I don't know if it's memories. I don't know if it's some whole new thing. I don't know if it's even got something to do with nobodies. I don't know what it is, but I do not believe they're related by blood. And based on what I just pointed out about Nomura's actual words, I think there's enough in what he said there to give you the impression there's something sus going on. But I definitely do not think that they're related by blood, okay? And I'm going to point out some of the actual just, I guess you could say, logistical issues with it, or some of the actual meta issues with it. And Jessica James Yes, you've got my first point already. Okay. Now, I've seen a lot of discussions about Subject X and Skuld and being with Ephemer, and somehow no one brings this up. To me, this by itself eliminates it. That alone eliminates that idea. There's no way. There's no way. This by itself eliminates it. There's no way. Okay, like this is the route they have to go down. There's no way around that. If you're telling me Skuld and Ephemer have kids and that's how they repopulate the world, this is literally what it means. There's no way around that, guys. I've been thinking about it for months. Trust me. There's no way. So the only way around it is for it to not be like that. But there's even more problems with it than that. That's just the first thing. And to me, that already eliminates it. But I can keep going. I can keep going. I can keep going. Let's say that I give you the benefit of the doubt, right? And let's just, because first of all, is Disney is all right. This is what I was going to say. So Jessica James says this is Japan we're talking about, but this is the thing. It's Disney though. Is Disney going to allow that? That's my question. But here's the thing. Let's just say that they do, or let's just say Nomura slips it past and or whatever. Let's just, for argument's sake, say that that does happen. Okay. Even if that's the case, there's still a lot of problems because even mathematically, it doesn't make sense, right? So if we go back to the scene where Xehanort is talking with Player and he's talking about right, like here's the thing. So I need to get to the part where he's talking about it, but he says to Xehanort that flowing through his blood is the blood of Ephemer, right? And we know he calls him his great grandfather, if I'm not mistaken. It's 3 greats, I'm pretty sure, right? Now I know time in Kingdom Hearts can be a bit iffy, but I'm also sure Nomura kind of pointed out that between Dark Road and Missing Link, it's like a few, like he said something like a few generations or something like. I can't remember the exact. Maybe it's in the interview. Maybe he says it in the interview somewhere. But if I'm not mistaken, it's like a few generations, right? So I just want to get to this part here. Okay, so I can see the exact amount of greats he used. Yeah, let's get to it. I say this with conviction because coursing through your veins is the blood of Ephemer, a dear friend of mine. Now, I will say this. If Ephemer, okay, so he doesn't say the great-great-grandfather thing here. My mistake then. It is mentioned somewhere. I don't remember where it's mentioned. I'm not sure if it was Nomura that mentioned it or if it was in the scene, but it is mentioned somewhere. But either way, he does bring up that flowing through his veins is the blood of Ephemer. So, even though I'm saying what I'm saying about bloodlines, you could counter me and say, what? Next gen, Player explicitly said Xehanort has Ephemer's blood flowing through him, right? So that does play into the idea of bloodlines, right? So I think we have to really consider the gap between Missing Link and Dark Road. It probably isn't that long, right? Now, and then the gap between Missing Link and Union Cross, so what you have to consider is even if you are going to say they was Adam and Eve, and because again, that's some murky territory, but even if you're going to go down that road, then you have to ask yourself, how did they repopulate and build a society in that space of time? It's not enough time, guys. It's not. Like, they wouldn't have more than maybe a dozen people. Maybe, and another thing is, literally, Skuld would have to be spending her entire life making kids. I mean, that's literally all she would do, is make kids. That's what her fate? Not Subject X? I don't know, guys. Like, I know people say Nomura's got, people say Nomura and his female characters and blah, 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 but come on, that's a bit far. I mean, and I've got other things to point out as well. It's not just that, but those are definitely some things I want people to chew on for sure. Again, this is Kingdom Hearts, guys. Like, this isn't, there's no chance. It's impossible. But I really do think these are some big things that need to be considered when we're talking about the bloodline thing. Because, I already addressed Ava being Subject X earlier, and as far as I'm concerned, I already gave all my reasons for why I don't believe that. You guys can go back and watch that and agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. But now I just want to address Skuld having a bloodline. This is actually a bit of a separate argument, because whether she's Subject X or not, I still don't think the bloodline is what we're like a lot of people think it is. I don't think it's an actual genuine bloodline the way that's being said. I don't. So even let's say she is Subject X, let's say she time travels and goes back to the time of Missing Link and then helps Ephemer found Scala. I still don't think that's accurate. I still don't think she does that. I still don't. And I'll explain to you why. Okay, I already pointed out those two things, but there's more than that as well. Because I need to bring up the scene from the ending of Union Cross, right? So let's look at what happens here, right? So this is Brain, as we all know, arriving in Scala. And I know you guys explain things to me in the comments. I'm so sorry. It's just I want to try and get through this. So here's another big question I have, and I'm sure some of you know where I'm going. That's the man who founded this town, Scala ad Caelum, the first Keyblade Master. And who is that man? Master Ephemer. Now, please explain this to me. If Skuld co-founded Scala with Ephemer, where's her statue? Where is it? Why is she not credited as one of the founders? Now, I've considered an argument someone could make for that. An argument I imagined was maybe they kept her in secret, or maybe they didn't want anyone to know. Why? Why would they keep her in secret? For what reason? Now, if your argument is going to be, well, maybe they'll explain it in Missing Link. Okay. Maybe they will. But again, the optics are not looking good for Nomura. First of all, they have kids. Their kids are repopulating the world. Skuld spends her entire life having kids, and then she doesn't even get any credit. Huh? Like that's literally the argument. Like when you consider, like there's no way that like even like I know, and the reason it's making me laugh is because I know people always make comments about Nomura and they're like his female characters are trash. But here's the thing, like there's no way, guys. Like Nomura can't be that bad. I don't believe he's that bad. He's not gonna do Skuld like that. There's no way, right? So even if she like if you're saying she has a bloodline, where's her statue? Where is her statue? Where is it? Again, I'm not saying she could have. Maybe they had her shrouded in secret, right? This is meant to be the unwritten era. Maybe Skuld was meant to be unwritten. I don't know. Or maybe Ephemer founded Scala before Skuld appeared. But then again, like that goes against the like. It just I don't know. Like I really want you guys. I'm not trying to just destroy people's arguments. I actually want people to counter these arguments because I've not seen Team Skuld throw this stuff at Team Ava yet, or just throw this stuff out in defense of Skuld being Subject X or whatever, right? Because most of the time, as soon as someone says nowadays, Skuld is Subject X, this is the big thing that everyone jumps to, and it's a very good point. It's just, I don't think it's as good of a point as it initially appears to be. Once you consider the things I'm pointing out right now, it doesn't seem as solid as it once did. Because you have to, it just, to me, logically, there's too many issues with it. There's too many issues with it, right? So, again, where's her statue? I just need that to be answered. Like, I need that to be explained. She doesn't have one. So I don't see why Ephemer, and this is the craziest thing as well. Sigurd specifically says, right? He specifically says, that's the man who founded this town. There is nothing implying there's another person. Even if you was to say two people founded it, based on, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It just sounds like it was just him. Scala ad Caelum, the first Keyblade Master. Now, we know for a fact that's cap. We know he wasn't the first Keyblade Master. But isn't it interesting that Sigurd says he's the first Keyblade Master, right? So if they consider him the first Keyblade Master, that means Ephemer didn't tell them about what came before him. I think Ephemer is doing some sus stuff in Scala. And I think he's spreading some lies. I think that the the whole what were they calling Xehanort, the Child of Destiny? I think that's part of it. I basically I am really cannot wait for Missing Link to come out because I need to know what's going on with this stuff, right? This is the great thing about Kingdom Hearts. I like it's mad. But when I'm looking at these things, logically, there's too many issues with the idea that just flat out Skuld has a bloodline, she had kids with Ephemer, and it's call it a day. There's too many problems with that. There's too many. Of course, you've got the immediate issue of them having kids. And I'm going to even give you guys an argument for that. I'm going to even give you guys a potential argument to save that one, right? So here's what you could argue. You could argue, well, they weren't Adam and Eve, right, necessarily. They weren't the only two people left. Maybe there were other survivors. And with the other survivors, that's how they rebuilt Scala. That's it. You could simply say that. But that's not the argument I've seen. The argument I have seen very specifically is that Skuld and Ephemer were the last two and they repopulated everything. That's the arguments I've specifically seen. So that's the one I'm addressing. But I'm giving you guys a potential argument you could use, which is, well, okay, maybe there were other survivors besides Ephemer and Skuld, and that's how they repopulated the world. That also potentially will also explain how they were able to repopulate in such a short space of time, right? I'm going to not really like the architecture and building. Who knows? It's Kingdom Hearts. Okay, we've literally seen them transform buildings in a second. So I don't think we can go off of how, even though Skuld does say it takes a long time to build a city, which I do think was in a way slightly kind of trying to reference this Scala we're seeing here. But whatever, it's Kingdom Hearts, so who knows? They could build a city in a week for all we know, right? So yeah, I just think based on those things, it's not really, But there's also more. There's still more. You guys thought it was over. You really thought I was done. You thought I had no more points to make, but no. I still have another thing I want to point out. I'm just going to leave this playing in the background. So the other thing I want to point out, this isn't necessarily very, 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 very major, but I do think it is important to think about. So a lot of people basically, okay, so let's say that Skuld and Ephemer, their descendants are the people that we see in Scala, right? Okay, there's still a massive issue with that for the entire continuity of Kingdom Hearts. Because doesn't that mean everybody is their descendant? Right? If Skuld and Ephemer repopulated the whole world, everyone is their descendants then. Everybody. Sora, Kairi, all of them. Riku, everyone's their descendants. Because if it was just those two and they repopulated the world and everyone that came after them came from that, every single person in the entire Kingdom Hearts universe that exists after that time, that's alive, maybe you could give, you could sidestep it with the Disney worlds and stuff like that, but I'm talking like the Kingdom Hearts characters, they would all be their descendants. Now, if that was true, then why would Xehanort being descended from Ephemer or being related to him, why would that even have any relevance? Why would that even matter? And why would the player care about that? The player's like, oh, coursing through your blood is, the blood of my friend Ephemer. Why would that matter if everybody came from Skuld and Ephemer? That just means everyone's their descendants anyway, right? Also, in Missing Link, it's been mentioned that there's going to be something called the Society of Heirs and the Society of Non-Heirs. So, what's the difference? If they all come from Skuld and Ephemer, why is there a Society of Heirs and a Society of Non-Heirs? Again, just seems like, I know you guys are probably like, damn, this guy, why has he got so much stuff to say? But because to me, there's all these different issues that just keep popping up with a lot of these things. And also, I've never seen anyone say these things. If I'd seen them said, I wouldn't even be doing this live stream. But I'm putting it out there because these are some stuff, just stuff I think people can think about. But we're basically near the end now. So my take on it, basically, is I think, as I've said already, there's some Kingdom Hearts shenanigans going on. I think that, I don't know if it's data, I don't know if it's memories, again, I don't know if it's to do with being nobodies, I don't know, but let's not forget that in Union Cross, they explicitly brought up the fact that they have data copies of everybody from They have data copies of everyone from Daybreak Town. Okay? So if Ephemer accessed that data and used it to repopulate the world, we know from Coded, Data can have her heart. Data can, it's Kingdom Hearts. Data can become its own person. Is it not possible that somehow, in some weird way, that's where the Descendants come from? I know that in and of itself, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even like that idea. I don't. Because that still has a massive issue, because that also implies that everyone in Kingdom Hearts is Data, which is, I hate that idea. But I'm going to be honest with you, however they choose to do this, I think they need to handle it with care, because Missing Link, to me, is a game that could completely redefine what we view Kingdom Hearts to be like. And I think that if they're going to introduce Bloodlines, they have the opportunity to completely rewrite everyone's origin stories, and not just their origin stories, but also the origin stories of what we view the Kingdom Hearts universe to be like. So they need to be careful with that, because that could ruin it for a lot of people. I'm just being honest, right? Because if what I just said turned out to be true, I think a lot of people would hate that. If it turned out that they were all Data descendants or something, that would have been Sora's a Data like, maybe it wouldn't matter. It's Kingdom Hearts. Maybe it don't matter. But it just makes it weird. If they're made from memories, okay. If they're made from, like, I don't know. There's other things as well. Dreams. There's the thing about Kingdom Hearts. All of these intangible things, someone can actually be that physically. Someone can be an actual physical manifestation of a dream. Someone can be a physical manifestation of a memory. So, and in Kingdom Hearts, they can become actual people with hearts. So it's hard to really know what they could be. But my main argument is I do not think they're actually genuine, like, blood descendants in the way people were saying. Maybe Xehanort is. Xehanort might be like one of the exceptions. And maybe the entire idea behind the Society of Heirs and the Society of Non-Heirs is that the people who were the genuine heirs are the ones who actually have blood flowing through them, and the Society of Non-Heirs are the ones who don't. So maybe there's a bunch of artificial people in Scala who are the non-heirs, and then the people who are actually genuine bloodline descendants are the actual heirs. Does that make sense? Maybe. I don't know. Missing Link's gonna be crazy. But I hope I'm looking forward to it. Let me just check my notes, make sure I've not got anything left I want to say in terms of this. So, what else did I say? I said that there's a possibility of time travel. So if Subject X is Skuld, she could have time traveled by the end of her journey in the present day and go back to when Ephemer was using an arc. Again, even if Skuld time travels, guys, it doesn't explain, like, let's say Skuld is Subject X and then time travels back to the time of Missing Link, still doesn't explain why she's not credited as a founder. Still doesn't explain that. Still doesn't explain how they have kids and repopulate the world as just two people. None of those things get explained, even when if you say she time travels. So basically, I don't think she's in Missing Link. Now, if it turns out I'm wrong, okay, but it doesn't matter, because everything I said, they're still gonna have to explain that. Good luck. That's all I have to say. Good luck explaining that without going in some sus territory, Good luck with that. But who knows? Maybe somehow I've missed something. But this is I definitely want you guys to let me know what you think. If you think I'm just chatting nonsense or whatever. I put some extra little comments. So these aren't major things, but just some extra little things to think about. So hold on, let me get so yeah, some extra things to think about is that basically I already brought this one up about if they have actual bloodlines, then everyone is connected potentially to an ancient line, right? So that's another thing as well. Like, yeah, everyone would be a descendant of ancient Keyblade wielders if Ephemer and Skuld is the beginning. Everybody. That seems to not line up with what we know. So that also goes against it, in my opinion. Also, this is just a random thing that I was thinking about. So in Missing Link, right? This is just something I was thinking about. I've never really seen anyone talk about this, but this isn't got anything to do with subject text, but I just think this will be interesting. Do you guys think we're gonna see Brain get with someone? And what I mean by get with someone is, is he gonna find himself a nice lady or someone and get with them? And you know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm asking that is because if Brain is Ericus's grandfather, you would assume then there's a grandmother, right? So I would assume if that's true, Missing Link may be where we're going to see her, right? So potentially, who knows? Maybe Verdandi, if Verdandi pops up in Missing Link, maybe Verdandi's going to be Ericus's grandmother. But I just wanted to bring that up because I think that's an interesting thing that I've never really seen anyone think about. But if Brain is Ericus's grandfather, then I think it's possible we're going to see the grandmother, right? So that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. An oath to return. Yes, an oath to return. So I feel like I've said enough, man. It's been an hour and 35. I'm not finished though, because I'm going to go through you guys' chats. So at this point, if you've got any thoughts you want to share, feel free to let me know. Let me know what you have to say. But that's my whole lengthy spiel. I have to say, I'm so glad I finally did that because I've been sitting on this for ages. I've wanted to do a stream for months, like seriously. And it took a while for me to finally just get around to doing it. So I really, 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 really do want to see you guys' comments though. So I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna scroll all the way up and just see. So yeah, so I feel like I kind of read most of this. There's a lot of comments here that because the thing is, I want to get to you guys' current comments. I don't want to take too long doing that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go up a little bit and just read from maybe a few minutes ago. And in that way, if you have anything that you said earlier that you really wanted me to read, then just write it out again. If you have any, like when I was explaining my arguments, if you had an argument against me, no, Next Gen, you're an idiot because look at this, just post it again, and then I'll get to it. That way, I keep up with the chat. So I'm gonna start with damn, there's some good comments. Some good comments. This one's funny, so I'll just start this. Naminé could technically be considered Sora and Kyrie's daughter since she was born from Kyrie's heart and Sora's body. LOL. I know you're probably joking, but it's funny. I just wanted to start with that one. That's murky. Why is the Master of Masters actually in Quadratum? Whoever intended Sora to be saved and sent to Quadratum knew his great light would bring the Shadow AK dark side. Very interesting. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. You do not have to talk about Subject X. If you want to just throw out theories, because guys, I've been away for a while. Let's just talk Kingdom Hearts. I really don't care. You can talk about whatever you want to do with Kingdom Hearts. You don't even have to talk about Kingdom Hearts. If you thought that Mandalorian Season 3 was mid, let me know. Sorry. I know some people are going to unsubscribe for that one, but it was all right. It was all right. So Horrible says, so who is Skuld's waypoint to Quadratum? Subject X is taken by Luciu. Luciu said she fulfilled her role. Master of Masters said to Luciu, darkness is inside all foretellers. So this might mean Ava got darkness. Okay, so I've seen a lot of fascination with the idea that Ava is possessed by darkness or is going to be taken over by darkness. And honestly, I'm not seeing it. Personally, I'm not. I think a lot of that idea comes from the fact that darkness impersonated her. But I think that's as far as that goes. Now, yeah, we know that the foretellers are supposed to be harboring darkness. But the thing is that Ava, out of all of the foretellers, is the one that is most likely to side with the Guardians at the beginning. Because she already opposed the Master's plan, right? And in Kingdom Hearts 3's epilogue, when they were all summoned to the graveyard, she didn't appear. So I think if anybody is likely to not be darkness or to not be on the dark side, it's her. I think if anyone. Now, of course, I'm all for Ava being on the dark side. I don't care. I think that'd be great. It'd be interesting. But I'm just saying, I think of all of them, she's the one that's least likely to actually go down that path, especially because she actually knows that plan as well. That's another thing. Lucy revealed to her what the Master's intentions was. So she's the only foreteller that actually knows. So she's the least likely for that to work on anyway, because she actually knows about it, right? Ava could have been the one to send Yuzora to save Sora, believing he could be the key to stopping the Master of Masters. After all, Sora defied the Book of Prophecies once already. Okay, interesting. I will say that so I made a video about that, like to do with who told Yuzora to save Sora, and one of the major points I made in that video was that whoever told Yuzora to save Sora, most likely, based on what Yuzora's words were, I accidentally wandered into this place and went through some trials. Then I was told to save Sora. So based on the chronology of Yuzora's words, he accidentally wandered into this place. Bear in mind, they're in the Dream Quadrant when he says that. Then he was told to save Sora. So that implies to me, inside the Dream Quadrant, he was told. The only person I saw in the Dream Quadrant was the Master of Masters. So again, that video is on my channel. It's a few years old, but I think it still holds up. It's called Who Told Yuzora to Save Sora or something like that. So if you go check out that video, again, it's a bit old, but what I say in it, I still pretty much, for the most part, agree with. This also cancels out people like Luke Sword, because Luke Sword's not in the Dream Quadrant from what we see, right? He's in the car with Yuzora in the real Quadrant. By the way, that whole Dream Quadrant, if you're like, what are you talking about? I did a whole video about that as well, called The Tale of Two Quadrants. It's a bit confusing, but I tried to make it make sense. But I basically think that there's like 3 versions of Quadrant that we've seen so far. It makes sense in the video. Yeah, Ephemer and Skuld is definitely a canon ship. If Ephemer and Skuld are Adam and Eve, yeah, I've read this already. We went through all of that. Oh gosh. Even if Mummy Nort was a descendant of Skuld, their descendants would mingle with other bloodlines, and through all generations, they shouldn't even look that alike. Right, that's a good point as well. But again, it's Kingdom Hearts, so I'm going to give an allowance for that, because Kingdom Hearts likes to connect people through things like imagery. So I'm not going to discount the possibility that they quite simply were just like, yeah, they look similar because they have a similar blood. Because Xehanort doesn't really look like Ephemer. I mean, let's keep it real. He doesn't. Let's pull him up. let's pull him up. Like he doesn't really, like, which is another thing as well. Xehanort's mum doesn't see this actually, this is a very, weirdly enough, Ola, this comment here is actually kind of in a weird way. I don't know if you intended it to or not, but it's actually feeding into my point, because damn, I lost the scene with where's the scene of I think I lost it. Let me try and find it again. But this is actually feeding into my point though, a bit, because like, Xehanort's mum, look at that. Does that look like, I mean, let's just be real about it. That don't look like her kid. Right? So that doesn't look like her kid. Now, we don't know who the dad is, of course. He could get the feature from dad. Duh, right? Cool. We don't know who the dad is. But yeah. Based on the 2 people that we do know are supposedly related to him, neither of them look like Xehanort. So that, to me, even that is implying that maybe it's not what you think it is, right? But yeah, again, why, if everyone is descended from Skuld and Ephemer, why would Xehanort be special as a descendant of Ephemer's then? Why? It doesn't make sense. Like, why aren't they all children of destiny then? Because they've all got Ephemer's blood flowing through them, according to that argument. If the argument is Skuld and Ephemer repopulate the world, everyone's got Ephemer's blood flowing through them then, which means everyone's on the same page as Xehanort. So why would the player specifically single out Xehanort and say, I know you are the one who will bring light because flowing through your veins is the blood of my old friend Ephemer? Why would he say that? It just, I say he, they, sorry. Player can be female as well. But why would player say that? Like, if the entire argument is that, I know you guys get what I'm saying. It doesn't, yeah. So that's just something to think about. unless there's some weird family stuff going on. Pretty much, Ephemer is 5 generations older than Xehanort, so Skuld's mother is 4 generations ahead. It's a stretch to even say Xehanort's mom would even look like Skuld. Yeah. MA says Union Cross to Missing Link is 100 years more or less. And since player probably dies of age, maybe between Missing Link, I'm not gonna lie, the way player dies is ridiculous. That's it's just like bro just literally collapses. Like what? It's just like bro's just like, oh, my life's over, and Xehanort's like, okay, and Xehanort didn't even look back. Like, bro, this guy raised you. Like, this was basically like your foster father. Like, this guy raised you, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, you was looking into his heart and shit. You was looking at his memories. You thought his friends were your friends and all of that. Like, bro's literally almost borderline on some, identity theft. You had us all fooled, Xehanort, thinking you was player. And then bro dies and you're just like, and you know what makes it even funnier is that he's just sitting on the beach as well. Before that, he's just chilling. He's like, damn, this breeze feels good, man. Feels good. It'd be a good day for someone to just die today. I'm sorry, I have to clown it because it's so ridiculous. Like, I wonder if this will have more context. Like, I wonder if in Missing Link that like there'll be some explanation for why he just kills over like that. I keep saying he, if why player just kills over like that. But yeah, Union Cross the Missing Link is 100. Okay, so I don't know if those dates are accurate, but I'm gonna take your word for it because I don't actually know the dates, so that's as good as any. But I think that seems reasonable. Maybe between Missing Link and Dark Road 8 and yeah, okay, so that's an estimate. Yeah, fair enough. I think I know one of them Nomura already commented on. I just can't remember which one it was. I don't remember if it was Union Cross the Missing Link or what. Okay, so let me go past these. Horror Pill, you're a joker. Maybe they don't have the budget for Skull statue. Well, that is not good. Their optics still don't look good for Nomura. He's like, the team's like, we can get maybe one statue in. Who's it gonna be? Yeah, let's just go with Ephemer because it's like, are you sure, man? Yeah, let's just go with Ephemer. All right. But yeah, no. I mean, I know you're joking, but yeah, no. Like, the statue thing to me is a big, big issue with the idea of Skuld being a founder. She's not credited as a founder at all. Sigurd does not credit her in the slightest. He just says it's Ephemer. So like, why? Still got more work done than Kyrie. Also, the names are a pretty decent hint at fates. Yeah, so I could have gone into all of that stuff, like how Isa and Lee and Skuld, like how like all of the imagery and the symbols like match perfectly. When you could like, if you slot that Skuld into their trio, it fits. The whole motifs with the moon, the star, and all that, like it fits, right? So she fits them as a trio perfectly. Ava, the only symbol we have for her is a fox. Doesn't really fit. So that's another bit of evidence. I didn't want to bring that up because I have heard that being said like 1,000 times. But yes, you're correct in regard to the names as well. Urge, what once was, past, Verdandi, possibly Missing Link, what is coming into being, present, Skuld, what will be, future. Correct. Right? That's the whole thing to do with the three nouns of fate, Urd, Verdandi, and Skuld. So yeah. And of course, the one that's missing so far is Verdandi. And of course, as you've quite rightly pointed out, the missing link, Verdandi, right, from the present, makes sense. I'm pretty certain we'll see Verdandi missing link. Also, because if you actually think about it, Urge and Skuld, what types of games were they introduced in and do they feature in? Mobile games, right? Urd is in Dark Road, mobile game. Skuld is in well, she was originally in Key, which was a browser game, but she's in Union Cross, which is a mobile game. So both of them, their features, their debuts were mobile games. I think it makes sense for Verdandi to appear in a mobile game as well, just to keep in line with that. So it's very, 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 very likely she's in Missing Link. And yeah, whoever she is, I'm sure she'll be important. That's another thing about Missing Link that I can't wait for. there's only like 2 characters really, maybe 3 if you consider Lushu. Even though Lushu being a missing link's a bit of a weird thing as well. But Lushu, sorry, not Lushu, Skuld and Ephemer. Skuld and Ephemer being damn, I need to stop saying Skuld and Ephemer. Brain and Sigurd, sorry, they're the only 2 characters really we know for sure are in Missing Link. So again, maybe Lushu. I know some of you guys might be like, why are you acting like Lushu's not in Missing Link? I have a reason for that. I just can't remember it right now. I'm not saying he's not there because it looks like in the trailer he is, but it just seems a bit weird because if he's in Missing Link, then it's like, what was going on with the epilogue of Union Cross then? You know what I mean? Like whose body does he have in Missing Link? Because if Brain's in Missing Link and he had Brain's body, then how are they both there at the same? Do you get what I mean? I don't know. I've not really seen people bring that up. Maybe I'm missing something there, so please let me know if I am. But that's something that always makes me feel a bit iffy about Lushu being in Missing Link. But I know he's gonna be in basically every era, probably. So, but it's called the Unwritten Era, and if it's unwritten, that sounds like it's not written in the Book of Prophecies, which makes sense. Because if that era was written in the Book of Prophecies, then wouldn't the foretellers know about it, right? And then, of course, we know in the Unwritten Era, this is where Xehanort comes from. This is where the Child of Destiny thing comes from. This is where the entire idea of trying to circumvent fate comes from. So more than likely, Missing Link is the society where they're like, yeah, we're not going with the Master. He's on some BS, and we're not with it. So I think that's most likely what's going on there. But who really knows? Who actually truly knows? And yeah, if I go back to this, just looking at Scala again, just trying to have something in the background. Let's say that somehow Skuld, the great-great-great-grandmother to Xehanort's mother, she could still go into the realm of darkness and stay young. Yes. Again, though, you still got the issues. Maybe you brought this up earlier or you addressed it, but you still got all the other issues with her having an actual, legitimate, genuine bloodline. There's too much problems with it. Colorado's a maiden lineage. When Ephemer wakes up, we see only one pod in the ruined Daybreak Town, so I never believed Skuld could repopulate with him all. Neither did I. For that same reason. Also, I think, like, you know how Kingdom Hearts is, right? If Skuld was there with him, don't you think Nomura would have teased it? I don't think he would have shown her, but I think what he would have done is he would have had Ephemer, like, turn around and he would have said something like, wait, you? Or, like, you know what I mean? He would have said something. And we would have been like, who's that? Who did he see? Like, we would, you know, he would have ended with a cliffhanger like, he saw somebody. Like, what are you doing here? Or that, I think that's what he would have done if she stayed behind with him. But he was just there by himself drifting, and he was alone. So, no, I don't think so. 7 Hearts, their pods were right beside each other too, so hers could only be so far away from his. Exactly, Ola. Ha 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 ha. I'm not going to say that word because YouTube, but yes, that is one of my biggest issues with the Bloodline thing. All the lands were too far to travel to, so I definitely believe there were other people that survived. Yeah, I think it's possible, but again, the way how they frame it is like it was the end of the world and everybody was gone. That's how they make it sound, right? Like it was the apocalypse, the grand Ragnarok, the end of all life. That's how they make it sound. Also, there's no one in Daybreak Town. There's no one left except Lushu, right? Even Darkness says that. I think Darkness outright says to Lushu, like, something about him still being there. And he's like, and like Darkness is like, everyone else is left, so why is Lushu still there? So yeah. There has to be other survivors of the Age of Fairy Tales. The whole bloodline of successors and non-successors means that there have to be people who aren't descendants. Right, that's kind of what I was saying. I think that can definitely lean into it, unless you consider what I said earlier, which is that the non-successors, the non-heirs are artificial. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because it's like, it's really weird because it's like, here's the thing, right? If Ephemer did have children, and eventually it leads to Xehanort, and that's why player says flowing through, because even though I'm saying what I'm saying, we cannot ignore the fact that player explicitly said to Xehanort, flowing through your veins is the blood of my friend Ephemer, right? Now, that to me does sound like a pretty explicit confirmation that there is blood descendants in some way. Otherwise, why would he say that? But again, you still got all those issues that I brought up. And on top of that, it is possible Ephemer could have had descendants and it just wasn't Skuld. I know no one wants to hear that. But then that still was weird, because then why would his mum look like it's weird. It's weird, but there's too much problems with it though. That's the issue. Like, that's why it's fascinating to see how they're going to actually make that make sense without using artificial people, basically. Like, because there's too much problems with it. There's too much problems. Mickey Mouse as well. How did the mouse fall into human descendant line? Everyone is data on a computer. Quadrum is the real world. That would be say, that is damn. That's gonna sting. I don't know how that would go over with people. I really don't. Right? Because it's like, is any of this for real or not? That was the very first thing being asked at the start of the series, bro. Imagine. You know how many times I've seen people say, what if it turns out that all of this was just Sora's dream? And then it ends with Sora waking up and Kyrie says, wake up, sleepyhead. Bro, that's a terrible ending. But, yeah. The idea that they're all data, I personally, I don't like it. I hate it. I feel like maybe they could make it work. But it sounds to me like they would just be, oh, I hate twists like that. Like, I don't mind. See, if a twist like that happened in one, like, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 2, when Roxas found out he wasn't who he was, that was powerful. That was a good way of doing it, because Roxas was a new character and it only applied like to him. It wasn't to Sora and Kyrie and all of that. But if you find out after all these games, all this investment, they're all data. Oh, I don't know how people are gonna feel about that. I think a lot of people are gonna be pissed. I don't know how they're gonna feel. Even if they try and justify it, say, "Oh, it's okay. Data can have hearts." Since this is almost over, I'm going to have a fan fiction that I and my friend Hector Flores made, that with a few of these issues that you brought up. Okay, you're saying you're gonna Kingdom Hearts a better path. Okay, well, I guess if that's what you're saying, then that's gonna be the fan fiction, whether you've made that not already or whether you're going to make that. Well, there it is. Kingdom Hearts a better path by Hector Flores. So I guess if anyone wants to see that, there you go. It's out there. I'm pretty sure every Guardian except Sora and his other version are heirs then. Yeah, that's what it would mean. But then why is, again, I keep bringing up, but why is they not special then? Oh yeah, Mickey time travel to Scala, kind of sort of. Yeah, it's not confirmed that that's what it is, but seems a bit sus. Brain seems asexual. Okay, interesting. Fair enough. But then, I mean, are you basically saying that you don't think he's not related to? Well, I guess he could still have a kid, even if he's. But I don't know. What's up with Xehanort? Like, in general, not sure. He's Xehanort. That's all I can really say. It's possible that Ava carrying out her role was unintentional on her part, and Luciu was making a little joke there. Okay, what do you mean by that? What are you referencing? Horrorpill says Xehanort is a singularity, but I think Master of Masters already handled that. Yeah, well, that was the last video I did, was talking about that whole singularity thing, which I like that theory. You know, I like that video, but obviously, you know, whether that's accurate or not, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know, but I think it was a cool idea. But yeah, if anyone has anything else they would like to say to get off their chest, I'm pretty sure that's the chat. I'm pretty sure I'm caught up with it. If anyone has anything they would like to say, please let me know. Also, if you are still Team Ava, please let me know. If you were still Team Ava, let me know. Because I've got to say, I'm going to look at the poll right now. So, interesting. I'm going to actually... Can I end the poll? Yeah, I'm going to end it now because I think the win is pretty... I think it's pretty... You know... So the poll ends with Skuld 71%, Ava 11%, Other 11%. Interesting. I haven't seen enough people bring up the Other though. I'd really like to hear people's thoughts on that because I think that's a viable option. And Strelitzia 6%. Interesting. I mean, I threw it out there. I don't know if people were trolling or not, but you know, some people do genuinely still think Strelitzia, and who knows? Maybe it'll turn out it is her, but I think if you take the dark hair comment as being canon, that pretty much knocks her out. Like, because she doesn't have dark hair. So that pretty much eliminates her if you take that comment as being canon, which some people don't. So fair enough. I don't really know how to frame it. I think it is canon because I don't see why those supplementary materials wouldn't be. You know, but it may have been unintentional since she wanted to run from the Master of Masters and ended up in Quadratum, inadvertently becoming a waypoint for everyone. Who's that in reference to? Sorry if I missed that or if I'm not remembering. I just remember your last comment was about Brain being asexual. So it may have been unintentional since she wanted to run from Master of Masters and ended up in Quadratum. Oh, are you talking about... Oh, you're talking about Ava. It's possible that Ava carrying on her role was unintentional. And you're saying that it may have been unintentional since she wanted to run from the Master of Masters and ended up in Quadratum, inadvertently becoming a waypoint for everyone. Okay, I see. Yeah. To me, Ava, whatever's going on with her is going to be interesting. She doesn't need to be Subject X to have an interesting storyline or mystery. She's interesting by default. She's a foreteller. She's meant to harbor darkness. She tried to betray the Master, even though apparently she's technically not the traitor, which I still think is BS. But whatever. By canon, like in terms of what the Master said, he explicitly called Luciu the traitor, which I do think Luciu is going to be a traitor. I do think Luciu is going to betray him. And maybe he already betrayed him a bit of missing link. I do think that, based on my video I did on the Singularity, I do think Luciu is a traitor. I just think that Ava fits it too closely as well. And the hilarious thing about it is that when they clash on the hill, that entire scene with Gula talking about who the traitor is, like, the funny thing about it is that every line he's saying, is this the scene? Yeah, like every line that Gula's saying, right? Look, are you the traitor? This was another reason why I didn't believe it was Luciu. Because as far back as Key, Ava literally just called him out and said, "Are you the traitor?" And I was like, ain't no way. Like, literally, Ava called him out as the traitor and it is him. And because to me, Luciu was the most obvious person to be the traitor. He's wearing the black coat. He's got no name. It's like, duh. So I just thought he was too obvious, personally. But then again, as we've seen with Luciu now twice, he can be quite obvious. The only Luciu reveal that wasn't obvious was the initial Luciu reveal with Zigbar. That was the only one that wasn't obvious. But the one with Break, obvious. Him being the traitor, obvious. You know, maybe what he'll do next will be some truly crazy stuff. Team Ava, bro. Throw hands in the feet out here. Hey, look, I put my arguments out there, but I'm just gonna be honest. If you're still Team Ava, you got a lot of explaining to do. I'm just gonna be honest. You got a lot of explaining to do, because I don't know. I feel like I put too much counter arguments out there, and I know it was a bit of a mess, but you know. Kid Q says, I think whenever Luciu read the book, he officially became the traitor. Huh. Okay. When do you think he reads it then? I guess, is that a time that we've not seen then? That's another thing as well. The Book of Prophecies, when does it get written? It's probably going to be in one of the future games, right? It's probably going to be like I wonder where and when. So, what time frame is it written in, and also where? And the reason I'm saying where is I wonder if it's written in reality or unreality. Not sure if it matters, but I really am curious about that. Because if the Master of Masters is in Unreality, and if he did write the Book of Prophecies, which, by the way, it is possible he didn't write it, even though it pretty much seems like he did. But it is possible he didn't. That could be a twist. He is the traitor because Master of Masters tell him not to interfere, and he did when he faced Brain. True, but the Master of Masters also told Ava to give the book to Ephemer. She didn't. He also told her to forget about the unions and to just focus on the dandelions, which she did do. But look, she attacked Luciu, which she was not supposed to do. And yeah. He recited the lines to Ava in this scene. Did he? Hold on. I don't think he does. I think Gula's reciting the lines to Skuld and the player, right? But hold on a minute. Hold on. What? Hold on. Let me see that list. You asked for the truth, so there it is. Now that you know who the traitor is, can you accept it? Wait, that line's that can't be true. And follow your fate and fight. Interesting. Interesting. I've never noticed him saying that line before. Let me actually look at what he said before that. That is very, very interesting because so she asked him to tell him what's written. Wait. Tell me what's written on that page. Okay. Are you responsible for all of this? Are you the traitor? Imbalance observed. So this is Gula going through the lines on the lost page. You say before this. I've got this scene before this. So let me look at that one. Are you saying it's before this as well? Damn, okay. Can you tell me exactly what scene it is if it's before this one? I will try and find it. But for now, though, I want to know what he was saying exactly to her, where he says, "Now that you know who the traitor is." This seems actually very, very interesting. Yeah, I wasn't given a copy of the book like the five of you. Instead, I need to make my way to the future as written in that book. So he doesn't have a copy of the book. So how could he have read it or recited lines from it? You're searching for a way to avoid the war, right? That's why you were looking for me. Yep. This world is meant to end. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing. Luciu, what do you know? What's written on the lost page? Okay. The page none of you have in your books. But the thing is, he doesn't. The page on which the master's intentions are inscribed. But he's not meant to have that. Gula's meant to have the lost page, isn't he? Are you implying that he wanted this chaos, this war? Because Gula is telling them about the lost page. Oh, my role is to carry the secret with me, and to do that, events need to play out just as they're written on that page. The master isn't interested in this world and what's to come. Hold on, let me see that line again because he might have said something. So There's an interesting line that the master says to Era when he's talking to him about the Keyblade War. And then Era's like, isn't it our job to ensure that this war doesn't take place? And he says, it's not possible. We need to focus on what happens after, right? That's what he says. Or on what comes after. Now, that's very interesting because if we obviously take the idea of darkness prevailing and the light expiring as being what happens in Kingdom Hearts 3, when the master says we need to focus on what comes after, he's talking about Quadratum, surely, right? So basically, that's what the master cares about. He cares about what's coming after that. Damn, bro. Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be lit. Kingdom Hearts 4 is going to be crazy. Lucio, are you responsible for all this? Are you the traitor? Yeah, and then that's where that scene ends. I remember when this scene was out, it's like Lucio's the traitor. He summoned No Name. He's a traitor. You know, and then it was like, he actually is. My bad, I could have sworn. Yeah, he doesn't recite the lines. He couldn't have, because he doesn't have the lost page. I don't think, Kid Q, I don't think he did. I don't think he did, because remember, right, the entire point of why the master didn't give him a book and didn't want him to know what was in the book is because he said no paradoxes. If Lucio knows what's to come, it can basically interfere or like, I guess it could mess with how things are meant to play out, right? So I think that's why it was imperative for him not to know. But I think maybe he could have pieced it together, because here's what's interesting. I want to see exactly what he says to Ava right here. So she asked him, are you the traitor? He summons No Name. I want to see exactly how he gets to the point where... So this here is the lines being recited by Gula. And this is what was on the lost page. Gula had the lost page and he's reciting it to them, right? And this is basically meant to... who could this be pointing to? Who could this be pointing to? And you've got the two most biggest traitors right here. You asked for the truth, so there it is. So, this is important. In this gap, where in this gap here, right? So off screen, are you the traitor? Boom, he summons No Name, right? Fade to black. In this time frame, before we come back here, everything that the master told him about, you guys have got darkness in you, I've been preparing you for this, all of that stuff that the master told him, the world has to fall, that's what he told her in that gap there that we didn't get to see. So off screen, he told her everything that the master told him. And that's why she's reacting like this. You asked for the truth, so there it is. Now that you know who the traitor is, can you accept it? Now, this line is weird, because the master did not tell Lucio who the traitor was. He said it, but he said it after Lucio left. And with the way how the scene was shown, it was like as if he said it once Lucio didn't hear it, right? It was like he was kind of just talking to himself. So, I've never noticed this line before, but this is really weird. How the heck could he know who the traitor is? Because, I mean, if he knows who the traitor is, he knows then the master said he's the traitor. But if that's true, that means he knows. That means Lucio knows. That means he knows that the master thinks he's the traitor. That means that, or that the master wants him to be the traitor. Interesting. Because if that's true, and he figured it out, that's such an odd line. Like, what's that line based on? Is that based on who he thinks the traitor is? Or does he actually, like, did he know? Like, yeah, it's me. Because he's saying to Ava, now that you know who the traitor is, can you accept it, right? And look at Ava's reaction. That can't be true. Let's think about this. If it's Lucio, that's the traitor, right? Because that's what the master said. The master said, hey, I'm the traitor. And then Ava's like, that can't be true. You're the traitor, Lucio? Like, what? But the thing is, just a moment ago, her reaction was, Lucio, are you the traitor? She seemed like pretty prepared for him to be the traitor. So if Luciu just basically told her, yeah, I am the traitor, why is she acting like she's so shocked? Again, it could just be a continuity issue. Let's just be honest, right? It could just be a continuity thing. But he's like, follow your fate and fight. If there's another solution, it will become apparent after the war is over. Has it occurred to you that maybe the master wasn't so concerned about the world's future, but how we, his disciples, would let our hearts guide us? Ooh, we know that's true. We know that's true. We know that's true. That was that. See, that's it. That's it right there. That was what the master said to him about their hearts harboring darkness. That's true. That's the truth. He did say that to him. And what did the master say about Luciu? Your thoughts, feelings, and actions are the key to the future. Let your heart be your guiding key. Come on, man. I think Luciu, if what Luciu's saying here is accurate, he cracked it. Luciu figured out that he was the traitor. He knew what the master wanted because the master told him, but he also knows his role is to be the traitor. He figured it out. Even if the master didn't explicitly tell him, he figured it out anyway. Which means all this time, up until present day, he knows he's meant to be the traitor. If that's true, that's crazy. That's crazy. Because I'd wonder if the master knows or would guess that he would have figured out. Ooh, that's crazy. But I still think Ava's a traitor. Even if she's not the traitor in the master's eyes, I still think she is technically a traitor. Wait, let's go back to what she just said. Because that's some. This is a very interesting cutscene. Are you saying his interest was in us all along? That's ridiculous. See, that's accurate. See, the reason why this cutscene is so gold is because this came out a good amount of years before the Union Cross finale, right? So it's all lining up now, right? It's all lining up. So when she's saying, are you saying his interest was in us all along? That's ridiculous. So, like I said, Luciu told her. Ava knows, yeah, like his interest was in us fostering these darknesses. Luciu, you're interpreting the master's words in your own way. This can't be what he wanted. Uh-oh. 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 Ava said he's a liar. Why are you telling us this? The traitor is the catalyst for the events that lead to the world's end. What? It made sense why Master of Masters meets Xehanort. Brain is the reason Luciu is a traitor. That's basically what I think as well. I think Luciu being the traitor links into what he did with Brain. Because Brain shouldn't be in Scala. He shouldn't be in Missing Link. But he is. So, what if from Luciu's point of view, the Master of Masters is a traitor? Yes, I did consider that. If that's what he's trying to say, like, now that you know who the traitor is the master, right? And that could be why Ava's going off, because she's like, no, right? So you're right. And also, this could play into why he's the traitor, because if he views the master as betraying them, then he would obviously betray the master, wouldn't he? Right? He'd be like, the master's the traitor. He's our enemy. And because, which is crazy though, because then why does he do everything he was supposed to do? Why does he still carry the box? But maybe that's part of his plan. Maybe that's part of his plan. Maybe he's like, all right, I'm going to do what the master said. And then when he gets back here, I'm going to deal with him. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe he's like, or maybe he knows the master's so powerful, he can't just take him on direct. He's like, all right, I've got to make sure, I've got to wait. I don't know. But however you slice it, I definitely think Luciu's going to turn on the master. I think that's pretty much a guarantee at this point. Is there any limit to the level of reverse psychology 15th dimensional chess Master Masters on any given time? I don't think so. But if there is a limit, maybe we'll see it someday soon. Unless they were saying at the time that Master Masters is the traitor. Yeah. She realizes Master Master's true goal, fight, so that light can slay the darkness inside you. Yeah, but here's the thing. Look, because of that whole conversation, look at what Ava does. This is why I always was saying to me, this is why my argument used to always be she's a traitor, because she literally, you know, like if you look at what Gula says, right? Where is it? Where's the line? Like basically all of the quotes line up with Ava. Now they do line up with Luciu when you take Union Cross into account. When you consider how Luciu reacted to the Master when the Master told him his plans, it does line up with Luciu. But before that ending, it didn't line up with Luciu. It only lined up with Ava. But after the Union Cross finale, it did line up with Luciu. So, yeah. She strikes him. The bell tolls. So pretty much from this scene, like, because I remember there was always these arguments of like, oh, the traitor could be this person, it could be that person. But to me, from this scene, it was always either Ava or Luciu, because literally they clash, and then the bell tolls for the final battle. So, you know, like, what else could it possibly mean? What's really interesting though is I really would love to know how the Book of Prophecies is structured, like how it's written. I don't know if we'll ever find out, but it kind of seems a bit weird because I'm assuming they only reference one Keyblade War, right? So it's really odd. But the thing is, it's on the lost page where it says the bell will toll and blah blah blah. It's the lost page that says that. That's not actually in the Book of Prophecies. So I have to remember that, because I was gonna say, how comes like if the bell is so important, then where's the bell in Kingdom Hearts 3? There's no bell that tolls in Kingdom Hearts 3 before the final battle. So how's the bell toll relevant? But then again, the bell toll is in the lost page. It's part of the Master's manipulation, man. It's part of the so Gula was getting details about this Keyblade War in Daybreak Town. The lost page was the details specific to their Keyblade War, whereas the Book of Prophecies details is specific to the Kingdom Hearts 3 Keyblade War. I guess that's how it works. Not sure what that is, but sure, I completely agree. But anyway, I've been going for 2 hours, and I appreciate all of you that have come and that have listened. If you have anything you would like to say before I go into the night, feel free to say it. But I appreciate all of you that have come to the stream. I really do, because honestly, I've been gone for a while, and I was just like, hey, let me do a stream. Let me just see if anyone wants to talk about Kingdom Hearts. And some of you did. A lot of you came and spoke. So I really, really do appreciate that. And I did say earlier, like, guys, I don't know, like, I would love to make more videos. I know I've had people who have said to me, dude, you need to do more videos like your Arcane video, which for any of you that saw, even if you didn't watch that video, I think you can see that video obliterated everything else on my channel, all right, in terms of views, right? But this is how you know I'm not one of those YouTubers who chases the views, which, by the way, I don't have any beef with you if you do. But this is how you know I don't chase the views, because I should have just became an Arcane channel based on that video. But I love Kingdom Hearts too much. And that's why I keep finding myself talking about it over and over and over and over again. Whilst I would love to talk about other things, and I keep promising myself I will, you guys have no idea how much things I want to talk about. Like, I want to talk about Star Wars. I want to talk about like Dragon's Dogma. Of course, I would like to talk about things like Arcane, different shows that I watch. I want to do like more like analysis videos on different things. There's so much things I want to talk about, but it's difficult. I don't have a lot of time these days to do it. I know maybe you're thinking, but bro, you're just on the stream for 2 hours. Yeah, and it's 1 a.m. I was gonna do the stream tomorrow, but I couldn't even do it tomorrow. So you know, oh, shout out to Dom Rux. Shout out to you. Thank you very, very much for the $5 super chat. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. You know, it's not necessary, but thank you very much. You say so much respect to your work, research, and theories. Always solid, always well founded. Much love. The live is great, by the way. Thank you. Thank you. Because I'm gonna be honest. Sorry, I've got a bit of a cold, so I'm sniffling a bit. Sorry about that. But yeah, like I'm gonna be honest, man. Like I was like, I don't know if I should. Let me get this bell off the screen. It's a bit. Let's bring this back up. Let's bring my little intro thing back up for the people that didn't see it. Let's go from run it from the beginning. But yeah, like I really do appreciate all of you coming. And like I said, I wasn't gonna do the stream. Like seriously, it was one of those things where I was like, well, I was gonna always do the stream, but I was meant to do the stream months ago. Like when I say months ago, guys, I'm talking like around the time when I dropped my last theory, which was almost 7 months ago now. Okay. And yeah, it's crazy that it's been that long. It doesn't feel that long. Like seriously, sometimes I realize how fast time goes just by looking at when I last uploaded. I'm like, damn, it was 5 months ago? And then, you know, before I know it, it says 6 months, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, like what? It was half a year ago when I dropped a theory? Nah, no way. Like it's crazy. But yeah, so but anyway, I appreciate that, Domrock, like seriously, I really do. And honestly, you guys, whenever you comment on my videos, whenever you leave likes, I do not care if you agree, if you disagree, I don't care. The engagement is what I enjoy. I love it. Like, I don't think you guys actually realize how much I enjoy it. Even when I'm out somewhere and I'm nowhere near my computer to make a video, when I get like when I'm on I just get a notification on my phone from someone and I just see like some lengthy essay, I will read it. I will read the comment. Like, I will read the comment. Like, I won't always reply to it, but I will read it. Like, seriously, I will literally be at work or I'll be sitting on the tube. I will read the comment. Like, seriously, I don't think there's a single comment I've not read. I've even read the spam comments. Like, you know, I'm not that popular on YouTube. I don't get that much comments. So I do read them. And I really do appreciate them, seriously. Circle back soon. Gonna run back the full year discussion. Yeah. That's definitely one for people to think about. I really hope this live stream's like not a mess. But it probably is a little bit. It's gonna be so painful going back through it though. Having to try and do some chapters. Just do it, bro. What's stopping you? Go for it. I know, Horror Pill, and honestly, shout out to you because you've always supported the idea of me trying to just do like what I want. And no one stops me. No one discourages me from doing that. But you know what the thing is? And I'm just going to be real with you, especially if any of you are content creators and you're just watching from the clouds, or you watch this on the playback, or you want to be a content creator. Like, let me just be completely honest with you. You get into a place a lot of the time where you start thinking about things like, is this video going to do well? I know you've heard, like, I know you've heard this from other YouTubers. This is nothing new, okay? People have said this for years. It's nothing new. It's the same old thing that people always talk about. Now, me, I'm a pragmatist, right? So if I feel like I already know a video is not going to do well, it's hard for me to sit down and justify to myself putting the energy into making that video. But then the problem is that I'm the type of person where like, for example, I made a video essay about Nier, right? That video essay on Nier, for a good piece of time, it didn't have like anything over like 400 views. Like, it took ages for it to get 1K views, right? And if you compare that to my Arcane video essay, which obliterated everything else, you would think like the pragmatic thing then is to do more videos like the Arcane one and not like the Nier one. But the problem is that I would love to do more videos on Nier. It's hard to justify that when I don't have a lot of time. And then it's like, well, you know, the Nier video isn't doing as well. So it's hard to justify it. Now, Kingdom Hearts is like, the main reason why I always make content on it is because it's right in the sweet spot. I love talking about it. I enjoy it. I'm fascinated by it. And people watch it. It gets good engagement. So it's like the perfect thing to talk about for me because it hits all the right spots, right? People will watch it, people will engage, and I enjoy talking about it. Whereas something like Nier, I might enjoy talking about it, but then not as people will watch it. And then Arcane, I did that one video as a one-off. That's not, I don't have enough interest in it to like consistently do content on it. You get what I'm saying? So it's a bit like, okay, like Arcane's cool, but it's not Kingdom Hearts, is it? It's not Star Wars, is it? So yeah, but it's tough. I've had this struggle on this channel for years. This is something I've always dealt with. It'll probably never end. But if nothing else, you guys can be certain. If you love Kingdom Hearts, I know I may not be as consistent as some people, but I promise you one thing. I will always make content for Kingdom Hearts. I will never, I'm sure at some point I'll stop. But for the foreseeable future, I'm not going to stop. I just may be a bit all over the place as to when I'm dropping videos. And by the way, it's not because there's no news. That's not the reason. It's literally just because I'm busy and because I procrastinate too much. Perhaps you'll do a live stream, Kingdom Hearts 4 and Missing Link. Yeah, of course. I mean, of course, when those things come out, I'll definitely be dropping videos on it, doing streams. Like Missing Link, I'm not sure how I'm going to tackle Missile Link. Missile Link. I'm not sure I'm going to tackle Missing Link. It depends on how, because with the other games, it was easy. It's like, oh, we're just going to watch the cutscenes, right? We'll see how Missing Link goes. I am not about to sit here and promise I'm going to stream that game, because first of all, let's just I think my phone will definitely be able to be like okay with playing it. It better be, since it's marketed as a gaming phone, better be able to run Missing Link. But in terms of streaming, I've never had to do that before. I've never had to stream a mobile game, so maybe I'll figure that out. I also know Missing Link's supposed to be like multiplayer, so maybe I'll be able to play with some of you guys and stuff. Again, I don't want to promise that, but just throwing out a possibly. But we'll have to see. Right now, we don't even know what's going on with Missing Link like that. Like, we don't have enough details, so we'll see what comes of it. But yeah, so I think everyone said everything they want to say. So I'm going to sign off now. It's 1 in the morning, and I should sleep. One more time, thank you very, very much, guys, for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And whilst I do not know when I will appear again in these YouTube streets, you can be sure that I will appear again. Even if I vanish, dim, fade. No, that's corny. I'm not going to go out like that. But thank you very much. And again, another special shout out to Don Rock for the $5. Thank you very, very much. Bye, Horror Pill. See you later. Thank you for coming to the stream. I'm glad you caught it, because I know a lot of times you don't always catch it. So, but yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, my name is Next Show Novelist. And that's what I've got to say. And I'm out. Peace.